Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing today? As usual, I screwed up the little gimmick joke. I forgot to unmute myself for the little intro there. But yes, Mr. Bean is now the king. Long may he reign. So how's everyone doing today? I am back. It's been like a week. That's a long time for me usually between streams, but I am back from Rapid, and I brought somebody. Say hi to Joel. Joel, I found a nerd in Chicago. There we go. So I found a nerd in Chicago, and he followed me home digitally. So we have Joel.
That's what I do.
So yeah, so you've got like what 10-15 minutes, and you want to just let's go chat.
15 minutes. Let's do this.
Yeah,
man.
let's do this. So yeah. So this was the first event that you pretty much got to actually just be a guest. Like you got to just be a dude on the floor. You had your stream, which I did crash.
Yeah, we had the live broadcast day one, kind of opening the show, and then after that we wrapped up the equipment, took it back to the hotel, came back, and then the next day we're able to just kind of walk around and talk to people, look at cool stuff. Typically at a show like this, running around to try to record booth interviews, and it wasn't something that was asked for this year. So we went about meeting people and talking to people, and it was great. It still felt busy. It still felt really busy. But
you got to just hang out and not have to worry about cameras, and just you got to see stuff.
It was amazing being able to see stuff and not. Because usually what happens is we would go to a booth and, talk to people about what they want to talk about, and then have a booth interview, blah, blah, blah. And then we move to the next booth. So instead I got to ask questions and like dive deep and really kind of consider what I was looking at, which made for better conversations and getting some more information. And it was just wonderful. I hope I get to do more of that. Like I still enjoy doing a good booth interview, and I think I'm pretty good at it. And if that's requested, then we put that in the services we provide. But it wasn't asked for this year, so we didn't do it, and it turned out to be wonderful. So I hope I get to do more of that, in the future.
Before we get too far, I think we're both shilling for Linus right now because we're both playing with our screwdrivers with the water bottle.
And the water bottle. Wait, I got...
You don't have the flannel, though. You don't have the flannel.
No, I don't have the flannel. Here, let me see. So, I do have... I don't know if you can tell.
You got the fancy one. That's right.
I got a blue screwdriver. Yeah.
Jealous. So...
It's all right.
What was your favorite? Because you've been how many rapids have you been to already? Like this is
that's a good question.
You've been doing these for a while now.
Four.
The
first one was 2018, I believe, and then 19, and then 20 was canceled, right? Because the pandemic. But then 21 was. It's hard to remember. I've gone to every rapid I could go to since 2018, I believe.
Awesome. So what was your favorite thing to do? Because you didn't have to, you weren't on camera, you just got to hang out. What was, as a guest, as a dude on the floor, what did you like the most at Rapid this year?
And you were there at the booth. I think what really surprised me was the Modix booth, because that really large 600 millimeter cubed machine at a price tag of $3,500 US. Like that's not cheap by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not outlandish. It's not industrial show expensive. And it was really cool to see. And just talk to them, see that surfboard, see their other machines. Like it looks like they're trying to provide that one. And they're trying to provide a very professional experience at a decent price point, because it is a kit. And so Voron builders such as yourself, I guess, and myself now would know that you get a break in cost if you get a kit and put it together yourself. But it's rare to see that at an industrial show, a place where they're trying to gain and service more professional clients. And so that was probably the coolest thing I saw. There was I did, well, you were there too. So I did stop by the Slice booth and look at their new, it's all, you know, that hot end.
Yeah,
that's
the
like
Prime.
that tall. They said it will do 116 cubic millimeters volumetric flow rate, and that seems absurd. It seems absurd.
You have to be pushing either an extremely fat nozzle or going ludicrous speeds for that to be like, I asked.
So I was worried about material degradation because they're not shear thinning. So in order to push material at a 0.4, 0.6, my goodness, not maybe a 0.8, I don't know. That seems crazy. You have to superheat the material. And for PLA, they start out at 280C, which is a bit much. I know, you could overheat PLA,
yes.
And I think 280C is a bit much, but what Dan explained was that they're going so fast that they set it 280 because that allows the material to get to a proper temperature, because at the end of the nozzle, the very long heat path, it extrudes around 240C. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but 240C seems to be overheating PLA.
It depends on the specific plastic, because it also depends on time. So like in injection molding, usually if you leave a machine for you leave for half an hour on lunch, the first few parts that you shoot after that are garbage because the plastic has kind of decomposed a bit. Now, not all the way. Okay. Not all the way. ABS, sure. If you ever cook it for too long, carbonizes and it turns into like almost like obsidian, almost it looks like. But the hot end might be 280, but how much of that heat is it dumping in? And also, is that continuous flow? Because you're not always flowing material through the hot end. Anytime you stop, you do a retraction, you do a travel move. Like if you're doing something big fat at the bottom, you're okay because it's just flowing. But if you're doing something with a bunch of little spikes near the top and you're just going doot, 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 that plastic is just kind of sitting there and it's cooking. So it's probably...
I don't want to poo-poo it, right? I don't want to poo-poo it because I've not used it. It's very specifically trade show information that's sent out. And so I can't wait to see actual testing and throughput. I'd love to see 24/7. Like Albert, I'd love to see Albert doing this, or Vez 3D. I'd love to see these guys put it to the test.
There will be a use case for it. There will be a use case for it. So
well, that's the thing. You don't show stuff at an industrial trade show without knowing that there is a market for what you're trying to go for. Right?
Exactly. Those booths are not cheap there.
No, they're not. No, they're not. What'd you see? What'd you see that kind of grabbed it?
Honestly, it's kind of a mix between, because again, this is my first time. Well, okay, I went to Rapid last year, but I was very much like, ooh, shiny, and didn't really talk to a lot of people. I just kind of hung out at the E3D booth. But
as we do.
Yep, as we do. They have a little hidey hole to hide all your camera gear, if you ask nicely, and a coffee machine.
That's true.
And Revo high flows, if you ask nicely too. But anyways,
that is true as well.
It's kind of a mix, I think, between Velo and Massivit, because
talking to SJ is an experience in itself.
Yes, it was like, I think I didn't do the video with them because they weren't available. But on the Sunday, I just talked for a good chunk of time with them, and it was just like, I got to nerd out about rocket science and 3D printed rocket engines, and somehow I justified it by making a video somehow. But like, that was just like stuff you just can nerd out about and just go and go and go.
Yes.
And you have the real things there to look at. It's just cool.
Exactly. That SJ brought that 3D printed scramjet engine on the live broadcast, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, here it is right here.
Oh, you got it? You got it handy? Of course you do. Look at you. B-roll on demand.
But yeah, that's all 3D printed out of one single piece. Like that's one object. They wire EDM'd it to cut it open for the trade show, but that was did you see the chainmail?
I'm not sure. I may have seen it. So I was at Velo's booth at Form Next, and the shield that they had. You held the shield.
Yeah, I held the shield.
I might have seen the chainmail then. I can't place it at Rapid right now.
So this is the chainmail. So this is 3D printed inconel metal chainmail, and you can't crush it with your hand. Like
it's crazy.
You would think
718, and it's rocket. It's what they make rocket nozzles out of. Like it has to be strong and it has to be heat resistant to crazy temperatures. And look, unbreakable chainmail.
Yeah, you would think it would fall apart in your hand because you're like, oh, it's 3D printed, it's really small. You think it would crumble, but no.
Not even close. Not even
no.
close.
So yeah, so that. I would love to see a shirt made out of that and actually see how it compares. But I'm assuming the cost of it is not. I don't know if that's in the budget to kind of waste that much time on something like that.
So inconel is costly, like supremely, just by default because of the properties it has. And so you like that shield that you held. It's probably a $20,000 to $30,000.
I know it's more than my car. It's more than the car I'm buying, probably.
You know, one of the things I saw. So I talked to a guy by the name of Sid at 3D Serum at Formnext, and then we've had some conversations, and that's why we had Dave on the live show, and he brought those technical ceramics for heat shielding, and there's zirconia-based ceramics for bone things. Like he showed me this thing. It wasn't something they showed everybody, but it was an operation where a dentist had made a slit in the gums, peeled it back, and put a zirconia piece up in there to the actual jaw bone, and they can use ceramic screws to attach it, and then the skin goes around it. And what's crazy about zirconia ceramics is it's not just tolerated by the body. So you think of titanium screws and the metal things that are put in. It's not just tolerated, it's biocompatible. So the bones and the tissues grow through it, in it, around it, and it becomes a permanent fixture in your body. So it's you're going to see more and more of that. It's being done right now, and you're going to see more and more of that. One of the things, so the last day of Rapid, we actually had to skip out because the following day we were filming with 3D Serum Cinto at their location in Grand Ledge, Michigan. It's a bit of a drive. And so we got to test heat shields. And well, here, I'll show you. I have a picture.
Did they give you a flamethrower?
They did. I got to use a flamethrower. There was a, let's see, where is it? So I got to first do a test of what it's like. So an aluminum spacecraft entering an atmosphere, how will it survive? And it doesn't. And
by itself,
yeah, by itself.
Yeah.
The astronaut occupant
Toasty.
looks like that.
What material is that?
So this is just it's a resin 3D print.
Oh, okay.
It is a 100% resin mini Joel, and it was just specifically for the test. So the mini Joel astronaut in his aluminum spacecraft did not survive. Now, when they talked about heat shield. Is this okay? I'm going on about
no, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, 3D printable technical ceramics are what are going to enable spacecraft to explore other worlds. If you think about NASA has the space shuttle, and it's been retired now. Well, yeah, it's so that the space shuttle program's been retired. But what was really interesting, the space shuttle itself had 23,000 individual tiles on it for heat deflection and for heat shielding. And it was a foam with a certain covering. And if any of those got damaged, like a tiny meteorite nicked it or whatever, it meant that tile most likely would become a catastrophic failure because it wouldn't be able to support the heat the heat coming in from friction would essentially create a hot spot that would then spread because it would get under it and whatever. So what we got to do, so I saw one of the actual tiles that they used on the space shuttle for around the windshield, and it was like this thick, and it was foam, and it was really fragile. It was really fragile. So then I got to see what they're doing with these technical ceramics, and it's 3D printed. It's a 405 nanometer laser that's curing it, which is still just crazy. And the gyroid pattern is found to be the best for heat shielding because it's a long pathway for the heat to travel, which means it dissipates really easily. And so what we're looking at is the ability using 3D printable ceramics. We're looking at larger tiles, so there's less of them on a spacecraft, which means less butt joints where heat can get through. Also, in future spacecraft, we now have the ability to use ceramic screws rather than other attachment methods. And it's like 20% the cost of what these original kind of foam tiles were going to be. Because when it was really cool, we were having this space discussion. How do you enable space travel? You need reusable vehicles, which is what the space shuttle was supposed to be.
Yeah.
But the space shuttle, you had to peel all 23,000 tiles or whatever was left off before you sent it out into space again. So the idea being that these ceramic heat shields wouldn't be you would need to peel them off each time. They cost less, they're reusable, and the thinking is if a spaceship goes off and lands, like the moon regolith is really rough.
Yep.
So if a spaceship were to land on that regolith could easily have damaged the previous technology of heat shielding, but with the ceramics being so hard, they could actually withstand it. And so the thinking is reusable spacecraft with ceramic heat shielding is what's going to enable us to get further out into space, because eventually then you would use moon regolith along with ceramics to make new parts, or Martian soil with ceramics to make new things. And so Taylor, it's super crazy, man. The conversation, like, as you know,
this is a Sunday for you. This is a Sunday for you. I'm just gonna go drive to meet some guy in Michigan, and this is what happened.
It's so crazy that you and I get to have conversations about the future of humanity and what's powering it at an additive show. Yep. Like at Rocky Mountain Rep Festival, people don't realize
it's fun. Don't get me wrong.
It's fun. It's super fun, but all of those people at the tables are acquiring the skill set to work on these professional and industrial machines that are going to take humanity into the future. We haven't really,
well, a lot of this is very new. A lot of this is very new stuff. Like even Velo was saying, like some of the stuff they're doing is like only been new in the past 5-6 years. Like,
sure, new, but still they're borrowing skill sets from the old way of doing things, at least when additive, like axes control, temperature control, material control, all that stuff, right? Yeah. Someone who knows how to fix an Ender 3 could probably get started faster at any of the companies at Rapid because they have that general skill set. But I've always thought my goal for all of this is to have companies that appear at Rapid to come to the Rap festivals. They don't necessarily have to have a table, but they could, because it costs pennies for them. I mean, imagine the Rap festivals supported by the companies that want the people that go to those shows to come work for them when they're ready.
Yep, there's a pipeline there, because there is so much of it is not everything obviously transfers. Printing PLA is not the same as
not everything.
The understanding of the methods of the especially designers. Like if you can design something for 3D printing, you can design something, because there's a different design mantra when you have to design something for FDM versus just traditional machining. So if you have that background, and then it's like, okay, now you have to design this for this machine. Well, this is an additive machine. Okay, well, I already know how to, how overhangs work and supports and what like that. You have that knowledge base there to get you started at least. Mm-hmm. So,
and you're going to get people that eventually there's going to be this line in the generational sand where people don't have any knowledge of the previous way. Like they will only know design for additive because that's just how it is. Like you're gonna find that we're gonna get to a point in history where this is one of the only ways that people will learn stuff. I fully believe it. Now there's still always going to be just like in the 3D printing community, there's always people that will say putting 200 hours into an Ender 3 is totally fine and everybody should know how to do it. And I don't agree with that, but it's valid. And there's always going to be those people that love the old way of doing things, or the more hands-on approach, not necessarily the most efficient or economically prosperous way of doing things. And so I'm really not worried about the old way being forgotten. It's just that the new way is going to get way more eyeballs on it.
Yes, and it's actually coming pretty quick. There's a surprising amount of things now that have like additive manufactured parts in it now. So
it's a surprising amount.
Because
like every airplane you go on has an additive part on it.
Yeah.
Every car you sit in has most likely a new car has an additive part.
Yeah, the parts are getting to the quality that need to be for production, and the production volumes are starting to creep in. It's not all, but there are applications where it's starting to make sense to go additive versus, and a lot less waste.
Now you're a machinist by trade, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy? Is
mold
it
maker,
crazy to you? Sure, but I mean, you understand metals.
Yep.
Isn't it crazy to have companies using additive technology with polymers that mimic the material, the properties of a metal? Like, doesn't that just blow your mind? Where'd you go? Are you muted? I can't hear you.
Hello? Hello?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. That didn't charge while I was gone. 1 second.
See, I'm here just to keep the crowd amped up while you're,
Hello? There we go. Okay, I'm back. Okay, I had it plugged in while I was gone. It just didn't decide to charge, I guess. Oh, well.
Mad Dog 75. Typical Nero.
It's been a while since we've had audio issues on the stream. Let's it's been a while.
I guess I'd bring them on. But yeah, isn't it crazy that polymers are starting to mimic the properties of metals?
It is. Massivit was one of the more fun talks I did, because I'm a mold maker by trade. I built 100,000-pound injection mold tools for like Teslas and Fords and whatnot. So not all molds can be done with the way Massivit has it with their 1000G there, but like rim molds where you just are injecting foam, or like just pattern molds where you're like carbon fiber or fiberglass, where they can do an entire mold in like 5 days that would traditionally take 12 weeks on a machine that just is a dual head 3D printer that's just really big when you think about it.
And yeah, really big, like 4 feet by 5 feet by 6 feet. It's not just big, it's human sized.
Yeah, so what they're doing is they're using a dissolvable. So for the audience here, you may have seen Joel's video where they printed a giant Joel on it. What they're doing now is they're using a gel that dissolves in water, and every couple layers.
Breakable.
Water breakable.
Very specific to tell me.
True.
Like,
and what they're doing is every few layers, they just fill it with an epoxy, like different types of epoxy for different uses. And so you fill it up, and then when you're done, you take that whole thing, you dunk it in a tank, you break off all the resin, and then you have that solid hardened epoxy, you put it in the oven or whatever, and then you're ready to go. Some applications you gotta machine it a little bit, sometimes you don't.
Just a little bit, but a little bit, right? Just a little bit.
Just that surface layer, and then you're good to go. And it's like the amount of time you're saving, because a lot of the time it's not so much the material, it's the time. The time is the biggest thing for a lot of these companies now. Turnaround time is ridiculous with some of these customer demands. Like when I started, they would want molds in, 6 months, whatever. And then it's like a couple months. And then it's like, hey, we need this in a couple weeks. And it's like, okay, we'll try. But now it's down to days.
They, at Formnext, they were showing off this technology with bathtubs.
Yep. That was the one.
Like that. Like it takes you just print the mold for a bathtub, and then you do the layup, and then you're done.
Yep.
It's like bathtub.
Yep.
Also, the carbon fiber, having that water breakable material for the mold, doing a single carbon fiber piece that would normally have captured the mold, and to have it break, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the gas tank there. Yeah, so you can basically build a cavity or a form that will dissolve or break apart in water, and so you could cover it with carbon fiber, with fiberglass. That way you don't have a seam. There's no seam to worry about at all, because you just dissolve it on the inside or break it apart.
Yeah.
So it's like there are applications that you didn't really think could be a thing, and then you're like, oh yeah, we do this with it. And you're like, well, that's clever. Why didn't nobody else do that? So.
A lot of these companies are doing crazy stuff that they're not allowed to.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious when they're like, you get somebody going and they're all excited, and then they're just like,
Yeah.
Anyways,
You're not DOD. I can't tell you that.
there's some ITAR, NDAs. Yeah, we're gonna stop the conversation here, and it's like,
Did you remember Bill?
Yeah.
And his the engine, right?
Yeah.
That he was showing off that he doesn't know if he was supposed to. Did you hear he got hit by a car?
What?
Yeah. The reason he wasn't there on the second day, he was walking back to his hotel and a car hit him and he had to go to the hospital.
Is he okay? Well, I'm assuming he's okay.
Yeah, he's okay in that he's alive, no broken bones, he's sore, but the taxi that hit him apparently, the taxi company is taking care of him and shipping his car back to his home for him. And his sister came to town to pick him up and take him home.
The Miata? Did he take the Miata?
I think so.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, it's Bill, right?
I didn't know what happened. I saw him the first day. I just assumed he was only there for the one day. Oh no.
Well, he was, but not on his that wasn't the plan. Yeah.
Poor
so
Bill.
Anyway, okay, now you know. But everybody, if you know our buddy Bill who does 3D Chameleon, so just send him some.
And everything else. Every time you talk to the guy, I'm waiting for the days. Like, so yesterday when I was on the space station, we had to do this, and honestly, I would believe him because he's just
it's gonna be one of those times where he says,
yeah.
So guys, do you remember tomorrow when we talked? Because I invented time travel. Oh shoot.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And you would just be like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever, Bill. Okay.
You don't doubt him.
Yep.
like the one time you doubt him, he's just gonna prove you wrong publicly. He's gonna laugh about it.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, you just don't.
Yeah.
It's good to be home after these traveling days, man. It's tough.
That was a quick 2 weeks.
How are you holding up?
Well, I didn't do the stream yesterday. Normally I do a Friday stream. So yesterday I called it off because I was just sore. Because it was like, we had Rocky Mountain Rep Rap Fest last weekend, and then like a week and a couple days later we had Rapid. And you're walking all over the place, and you're traveling. Although, not as jet lagged. You're more jet lagged for me than me for Rapid.
I'm not as jet lagged. Not as much as I. It's weird.
You travel a lot, though. You travel.
I do. And I stay up late and I work odd hours. And so it's like, I just exist amongst all time. So it's just, sometimes I'm asleep when I should be awake. And sometimes I'm awake when I should be asleep.
Yeah,
it's just
same here.
So,
same here.
Super, just not worried about
it. So what's the next show? What's the next show for you? What's the next show for you?
Next show is going to be, right now, the next show scheduled is Open Sauce. In Southern California, in San Francisco.
I am so jealous of that. Like, I wish I was closer to the West Coast for that, but
there we go. West Coast, best coast, baby. I had to help myself do that because I'm old and my bones don't work.
And then you're also going to LTX, right?
LTX, yeah. Did you see who also is coming to LTX?
A lot of people. Who?
Maker's Muse.
Yes, I heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm totally. This
all
is
the way from Australia.
This is not my jealous face. Not my jealous face at all. This is my stoic face. Not drowning my sorrows in the bottle of what whiskey over there. No.
Canadian whiskey, which we talked about. And next time we meet, I have to. Do you have a bottle there? Can you show?
This one.
Yeah. See, we don't. I don't think we have JP Weisers. I don't think we have that. So at some point,
I gotta bring some.
I do have some.
Murph, I'm driving to Murph. So
you are okay. When is Murph? June what?
It's like the last weekend of June, I think.
We've got some weird things scheduled coming up that crazy enough I can't talk about, but I'm doing my best to reach Murph. And if I don't, it's not because I don't want to be there.
You'll be busy. Yeah, I'm not traveling again till Murph and then Earth. I'm trying to make Smurf a thing. I'm trying to justify Smurf.
If you can't, okay, to everybody who's watching right now, it says there are 298 people watching. We need to get Nero to Form Next, which is in Frankfurt, Germany, and it's in November. It would be, Taylor, I'm telling you.
I know.
I'm telling you, it's an emotional, religious experience going to Form Next.
As you put it, it's all the companies that you saw at Rapid where they have pictures of their machine. At Form Next, they have their machines.
Yeah, they have their machine. So you know the Velo booth?
Yeah.
Imagine it the size of like your house.
Yep. You actually get to see the things they have pictures of, and it's insane. So
yeah, so if you can start the process of talking to companies who might want to bring you. Jason from LDO, he's always a good one. Maybe reach out to him or others. But Taylor, I'm saying it publicly right now. Your audience needs to get you to Formnext.
And if I'm not mistaken, Prusa is relatively close to Germany. Am I correct?
It's like when Tom. Okay, so Tom's in Germany. Germany's big. I understand that, but wherever Tom is in Germany, he was able to do the drive to Prague to visit Prusa for the Mark IV launch, and he did that, I think, in like 4 hours, 5 hours.
That's not bad.
So it's not too far. No, here's what's great. Frankfurt is an international airport, so
it's a hop, skip, and a jump.
Like a huge one. So once you're in the EU, you could train up and down Europe easily, but from Frankfurt to Malta, it's only like 2 hours, 2.5 hours by plane. I'm just saying, if you wanted to go from there to Malta, you could visit Maker Noob, hang out on the, just, yeah. So
I got logistics to figure out.
And also, okay, if you fly Iceland Air, going from Canada or US to Europe, they have the ability to split your flight if you fly into Iceland first. So let's say you fly into Reykjavik, you can actually extend your time in Iceland a few days. I think it's up to a week at no charge, and then take the connecting flight to Europe.
Okay, I got to see if I can make a family trip of this to justify it.
Well, I would love to see you in one of the Icelandic hot springs live streaming.
I don't know. I did say when I hit 50,000 subs, we're going to do a hot tub stream. So maybe we can shift that to a hot tub in Iceland.
I'm scared and excited at the same time.
As long as we keep away from the electrical, we'll be fine.
Yeah, you should be fine. You're at 49.3, dude. So you're only 700-ish away, at least on the front part.
Get in there.
What else can we talk about Rapid? What are some things that happened that breakfast was expensive in the hotel.
My God. So you would think like a Hyatt Regency for several hundred a night would have, better continental breakfast than like a Holiday Inn. Holy heck. That was, what was it? It was, if you wanted coffee, it was like another $4. So it was like $36.
Yes, it was 28 US for the buffet, which was eggs, sausage, toast. It was really, it wasn't much. And then if you wanted a drink, you just had to add another couple dollars.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if you're already spending 20 on breakfast, you're already getting hurt there. You might as well go.
Oh, yeah.
And the hotel that we stayed in
was a nice
really
hotel. That was a really nice hotel,
though. The water pressure was great.
Yes. That's how you know a good hotel. You can actually get a proper shower in it. I will say the hotel we were at for Rocky Mountain was better. I did like the hotel.
Were you at the one like walking distance
yes.
to the event?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We were about a mile away because it was closer to Taco Bell.
See, the one we were at had free breakfast, and it was actually really good breakfast.
Oh man.
Yeah. Stay at that one next year. It's
okay.
It's walking distance. It's walking distance. Oh, they got
across the parking lot.
They better be doing Rocky Mountain, because I spoke to one of the guy doing it, and they're like, they nailed it. That was probably to be fair, I've only been doing events for a year, but Rocky Mountain, they nailed it for a Rep Fest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've been to Murph before.
Yeah. I've been to a Murph and Earth once.
Yeah. So Rocky Mountain is, it's much more Earth than Murph.
Yes.
Right. Murph very specifically is a very informal gathering.
Yes.
Yeah. Open. Yes. Open. But it's still fun, right? You put on, you don't have to put on your nice shoes. It's like you're going to the fairground and you're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, for me it's like a 3.5 hour, 4 hour drive, and the hotels are cheap. So I'm going
super cheap.
Yeah, I'm going either way just to hang out with people. So
because it takes you nothing.
Yeah. Versus Rocky Mountain, where I'm flying across 3 time zones. But it's Delta's a hub in Denver. So flights are cheap. So a ton of people, we had a ton of people on the Voron team fly in because it was cheap. So.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah,
that makes sense.
You saw how many people we had. I think what do we have? Like 28 people at the booth or something.
You had a lot of people.
We had a ton
of people.
It's pretty much Voron Con at this point. Anytime we show up.
How many of those Voron people hadn't met each other in person before?
Probably maybe a little under half. If they went to IRF and Murph, if they went to IRF and Murph last year, a bunch of the team have seen each other before, like the main team. But this was the biggest turnout we've had so far for team members. So,
okay, what else can we share about Rapid that wouldn't have? Oh, you know who I met at Rapid?
Who?
Nathan builds robots.
Nathan builds robots.
He's got you know, I think like 20,000 subs here on YouTube. He does, you know, 3D printing and electrical content.
Oh,
he was the first one on YouTube to unbox the Creality.
Yep, now I know who he is.
And
that's who it was.
For it.
That's who it was. Yeah. I seen his setup. I seen somebody recording, and I'm like, who is that?
Yep.
And then as soon as I pulled him, I'm like, oh, that's who it was.
Legit nice dude. Super nice dude.
I didn't talk to him because I saw him once and he was filming. So I walked because like I'm walking around with my GoPro on a stick. So anytime I saw somebody with like an actual proper setup, I was like looking at the cameras and seeing what equipment they were using and whatnot. Because yeah, that's me.
Are you gonna stay? Are you gonna stay with GoPro like that sort of setup, or are you gonna change it as you start going to more conferences?
Here's the thing. I'm little me, right? I like my quick, simple setup. The DJI mics work perfectly. I am not those are sticking around. Those work great. The problem with the GoPro, it really depends on where I'm recording and the lighting, because it doesn't have the greatest indoor. So I'm noticing some of the footage in some areas, if like there was a light behind everyone, it wasn't the greatest. I may switch to something like a Sony, what is it, ZV-E10?
The ZV-1 or something like that, whatever it is. The vlogging camera.
Yeah, because they got a built-in lens. It's all one unit. It's still really light. It's compact, but it's 4K. It's a proper APS-C sensor versus the GoPro.
Yeah, that's right.
So I may switch to something like that. I don't know. I haven't gone through all my Rapid footage yet. I just dumped it onto the server last night. Well, I just finished tomorrow's video, which is the last of the Rocky Mountain videos. So I was doing that today.
Okay.
But the GoPro works really good because it's just you stick down, you hit record. If somebody knocks the stick over with the camera, it's a GoPro. It'll be fine.
That's right.
So I don't have it. I don't have what do you got? The C70, and what lens are you running on yours?
Let's see. Yeah. Well, I moved over to an R5 with an Atomos Ninja V Plus.
Okay.
That's now it, because if we ever want to get really good detail, I can do raw 8K over HDMI. And so it's just it's good to have it just in case. And the mirrorless, so the C70 has 16 stops of dynamic range, and with the R5 I think I can get 14. So I use somewhat professional cameras when I'm at events, and what we do is, as long as we don't overexpose the image, we can recover the details incredibly easy, because even though it's shadow, it's still 14 stops worth of range into that shadow. So a lot of times we can recover stuff. So as an example, at the Rocky Mountain Rep Rap Festival, we were shooting with that setup, and when I was talking to Ellie and Coco Press, lights were direct overhead.
Yeah.
We were still able to pull detail from the face shadows, so it didn't look too bad.
Yeah, you were recording, what was it, S-Log or whatever that format is that allows you?
I thought about recording. Originally we were going to do 8K there, but I was like, I have a 2 terabyte SSD on it, and it'll record an hour and a half of footage, and that will fully fill 2 terabytes, which is just ludicrous. Like, I have yet to experience a scene where I needed that level. I was just doing H.265, 50 megabit, 10-bit 422. So plenty of room. Yeah, plenty of room in there.
And for those that don't know, Joel has the whole white balance board and the color sheet, and they do all the proper blocking and everything. It was funny. IRF last year, me and Grant were there while you were recording your video through Printed Solid. And we're
Oh,
just like,
yeah?
yeah, we were watching you on the security cameras up front as you went for each scene. You got your palette thing, and you're doing all that.
Yeah, it's doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like,
That's
okay,
fun.
I'm gonna record GoPro on. Okay, hey, we're here.
It's really fun. Grant's a good dude. I'm really glad that
I think he's
you
in
guys are
chat.
seeing that. It just provides that accurate level of color. Normally what happens, like on the GoPro or the iPhone especially, it's a processed image, and so the colors always look
a little off.
Spectacular. They look spectacular, a little hyper-saturated usually. Like the red in your flannel would be ultra red.
Yeah. Let's see here. I think I have a...
Oh, what do you got? What do you got?
Oh, I'm just going to pull up one of the videos from Rapid off the...
Raker said H265 50 megabit is decent. So actually, when we were at 3D Serum filming, I upped it. So I filmed 60 FPS and I brought it to 250 megabit.
Okay, here, 1 second. Let me pull up. So this is like an example of the GoPro footage.
Okay, let's see it.
So I'm not going to play audio, but... So this is just straight off the GoPro. So it's good enough in my opinion, but this was probably one of the better lit areas.
It's super good.
But you can still see like under my hat and whatnot, there's no light from the front. And the colors are a little washed out, but here's the thing. It's about audio. As long as you have good audio, especially at like a trade show or whatever, video just needs to be good enough. As long as you got good audio. That's the biggest thing is audio.
With your audio, well, here's what's crazy. So that GoPro footage, I got that AI software that Tom had used to take like his 1080p HD footage to 4K. I've put GoPro footage through it, and it's stupid how good it looks.
May have to try that.
It's stupid. So I have it. I know you can get a trial that will watermark, I think, but I mean I own it. I bought it. So if you ever put it. You want to drop me that LDO footage, I'll put it through it, and then I can drop it back in there for you if you just want to see what it looks like.
Okay. I think I may have tried it a while ago. I can't remember. I'm trying to remember what it's called, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we've been talking to... I think I might have to go back downstairs.
Oh, no.
We've been talking nonstop.
Well, this is good. I still got to fill 2 hours of content, so the longer you want to stay here, we're okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Oh man, I would if I could. Hey, I would just thanks for letting me come on. I know we've been talking about it for a while, and we were going to try to stream at Rapid too. It just didn't work out.
Yeah,
but we had fun.
Yeah, we'll do this again.
I mean, we had fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we will definitely do this again. Maybe while I'm building something or you're building something. You never know.
There you go. You got my Discord. You can just hit go live and I'll pop in.
That's right. We're friends now.
We're friends.
we're friends on Discord now.
I know.
Not just Meat Space.
I know.
Discord.
You don't need to call me on my phone while I'm in line at Costco with Clipper questions. You can DM me.
I still will.
You're loving the Voron, aren't you?
Oh, it's good, man. It's good. I miss it. Like I was gone for 7 days. I haven't touched it. Actually, there is a print on it that I did. My first ABS print. I used the Polylite ABS.
Was it the for the arm thing?
Yeah. David.
Yeah. David showed me the picture of it. It looked good.
Good. It looked good, dude. It looked really good. All right, I'm gonna go. You have fun on your stream.
Okay, take care.
And then I don't know. Bye, everybody.
High five.
There it is.
Okay. And he's gone. There we go. Is he? Oh, he did just close it. Okay, cool. Hey, it's just me now. I'm lonely now. I got no one to talk to. Coda, are you out here, buddy? You want to come say hi? Come on. Come on. Come on, buddy. It would help if I plugged that in. Oh, you good boy. Here, you want to say hi to everyone? That's going to turn the camera on for you, so everyone can see your happy doggo face. There we go. Hey, he's a good boy. Hey. Oh, hi, David. There we go. Behaving? Are you behaving, buddy? You doing good? Yes, you are. You're doing good. Oh, this scritches. Has it been? Did you miss me? He was so dopey when I came back. Like, he just, like, sitting on the computer, just resting his head in my lap. Did you miss your daddy? Aw. Hey, can you say goodbye? He's not going to let me go now. Okay. You good? You good? Don't give me those eyes. So let me see here. So I know a few people donated and whatnot during that, and I missed it. Usually when I have a guest on, try not to interrupt the flow. So Mark, thank you for becoming a member. Andrew, $10 to get something booze after the stream fund. I already got booze, but thank you though. Dustin, $19.99. Hug your Voron for me when you tuck it in tonight. Thanks for hanging out with us, Joel. Dragon Flame, 5 gifted memberships. Cheers. Gary, 1 gifted community membership. Cheers. OGK Kid, member for 2 months. If you don't know which Voron to build a Trident. Raker, thank you for becoming a member. Lucifer, Rook at the show. I will be building one at some point. Raker as well, $20. Smurf Fund, yeah. And Dustin, can we get information where to send Get Well card or something to Bill? I don't know. He does have a Twitter. That's the only contact info I have with him is just Twitter. He's a tough guy. I'm sure he's doing okay. Okay. I got to get back to work, buddy. Cheaty on the floor. Cheaty on the floor! Compared to how much more? The gantry is the same. The only real difference is you have to make sure your frame is really square because the Z motion travels on the frame. And you got the tackle boxes for the motors, for 4 Z motors. It's not that much more complicated. If you can build a Trident, you can build a V2. It's just a little bit more finicky. Like, I can't give you an exact number. Like, I've built both, and I built a V2 before I tried it, so I can't, you know, I'm coming at it from a point of somebody who's built all of these and doesn't have any issues with any of them, so. Okay, I gotta get back to work. What that work entails, I don't know. I was literally getting ready to go live, and Joel's like, hey, do you want me to come on? I'm like, yes. Okay, you take care, buddy. You take care. Go see mama. Go give mama a kiss. There we go. So the music, oh, let me, actually, one second here. You go down, let me set everything, because whenever I have a guest, I have to play around with all my settings. So one second here. There we go. There we go. Okay. He is gone. There we go. Okay, so let me find a USB-C cable so I can actually charge this thing properly. That'll do. Because I don't have any of my charging cables in here because they're all... That's not USB-C. Screw it. I guess we are using this one. Anyone see Nero's photobomb of E3D's high flow? Okay. So the reason I photobombed their live stream is because I helped set up their live stream. Because they're like, hey, we're going to live stream this. And they didn't know how to set up a YouTube live stream on a phone. So if you notice, Claire was actually wearing my DJI wireless lav. So they actually borrowed my wireless lav for that. And I had to set up their stream. And that's why you see my face at the end there where I'm turning the stream off. So that's why I photobombed it, because I was the one who had to help them set it up. Is that a K? No, that's not a K3. That's a V core. Coda should have a bed in the shop. I don't have room on the floor for a Coda bed in here. So I'm gonna try and catch up a little bit on the chat because I know I missed a bunch. I don't know. If you had any questions about Rapids, just ask them again. If you have any, just at me and ask them again. PF Dennis gifted 5 K memberships. Cheers. But we are going to get to the point of what I wanted to do, which is print some metal. Because, yeah, why not? And if you're going to print metal, a V0 is the printer to do it on, apparently. Because, why not? Bigger shop. I know, we're working on it. I'm working on it here. Okay, so metal is metal. So we're going to take out this 0.4 standard flow Revo. And we're going to put a 0.6 obsidian in it. Which one? It is, I got this from, this is from Sapphire 3D. They offer a service where they'll either print stuff for you or they'll sinter it for you, metal stuff. So this is the filament I'm going to be using. It's 17.4 stainless steel, PLA basically. So you print it, and then afterwards you send it. If you have a kiln, you fire it yourself. I don't have a kiln, so I'm going to ship the parts to them, and they're going to fire it and send them back. Are you going to help Joel build an ERFA? Is he building an ERFA? The first I'm hearing of it. Okay. Matter Hacker orders for 3 months. That sucks. I really should have brought my bag. My bag's still upstairs. I haven't unpacked it yet, but I've got all my, I've got my Revo high flow in it. I got my 60-watt heaters in it. Yeah. Actually, to be fair, I've been lying to you the whole time. That has a Revo high flow in it. It's had a Revo high flow in it for, well, since I came back from Earth. So, if you want to see Revo high flow, if you're gonna get Revo high flow, get 0.6. Honestly, there is a bonus at the 0.4, but get 0.6. Yeah, there you go. The only way to tell it's a high flow is to, you can see the ring. There's like a little ring around it. And then they do have it engraved high flow on the ring. It says HF. But otherwise, it's pretty much the same. Like, where is the hole? What NDA? It's public now. I filmed a video on it. They did a live stream where they announced it. What NDA? Did I test flow? I have not. Because I literally haven't used it yet. I haven't had to print anything, so I haven't used it yet. But I do know the numbers that they've quoted, but basically the bigger the nozzle, the more flow. It's very nozzle size dependent. So if you go with like a 0.4, it is an improvement, but it's not as big. And if you go with like a 0.8 or bigger, it's a pretty drastic improvement. So can you print Voron parts? You can. I've done it. You can. .48 millimeters. I can't remember which size that is. Apparently I'm live on YouTube right now. What, 2.85? No. 2.85 is actually not good for high flow. There's a reason nobody uses 2.85 anymore. The reason nobody uses 2.85, it has to do with the fact that you can't sink heat into it as evenly as 1.75. Because it's 2.85, what happens is the outside heats up faster than the inside because it's so thick, and you can actually have issues where you're not properly heating and melting the filament thoroughly, depending on the flow and the heat and the temp and the material and whatnot. So there's a pretty good reason why nobody uses 2.85 anymore. Printers, which printer is this? V1? No, not V1. Is this the printer? Foam all? This is the printer. Okay, good. Cool. Okay. I can't remember the speeds and feeds they told me to use. I do know I've been told to print this with a 0.4 sliced profile, but use a 0.6 nozzle. So that's what we're gonna do. What should I print in metal? What should I print in metal, folks? I don't know what to print in metal. What should I print in metal? Well, it's a sample spool, that's why. It's only got like 100 grams of material on it. Coins, a gear, a tooth. A boat, a Voron cube, an apron. The thing is, those are big. I don't want to print, I want a gear. Let's print a gear. Helpful if I knew how to spell. Tap parts. Ooh, that's a good idea, actually. Where's tap at? Is it in Stealth Burner? GitHub. We're on tap. Where's tap at? Let's tap under. FPV. I may try, depending on how much material I have here, I may do like a nano long range frame. Tap. STLs. Printed tap front. Okay, so try that. Which is the part that's most likely to fail? What is the part? Oh yeah, the magnets. Yeah, there's magnets in these, aren't there? Yeah. Center. Tap, 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 tap. Center right, center, center left. Oh yeah, you can't put heat sets in. Yeah, so we're not gonna print something that I can't use. Herringbone planetary gear. Yeah, let's try this. Let's try that. So we're printing this on a V0 in PLA, and we're using that. That is kind of big, but Chaotic Lab, I don't trust their stuff. What'd I do? So 15% infill. 2 walls, or 3 top, 3 bottom. I don't know how much material. I'm keeping an eye on the material. This might be too much. 12 grams. Of material. Yeah, the gears will drop out in the kiln. Yeah, we need something solid. I mean, we could do the benchy. Let's just, you know what, screw it. Let's just do a benchy. And infill. Gyroid. Let's do the damn boat. Everyone likes the boat. There we go. 9 grams of filament. And we got ourselves a benchy. I've been told to print slow. A mini Nero. I don't have a mini Nero. That's the problem. And I'm gonna just run at 50% speed. There we go. Printed Joel for Joel. Okay, so export, save. Let's see if this works. Okay, so 60C on the bed, extruder 220. Gotta get some material out of that. Naked benchy. Well, first let's see if we can get a normal benchy. Baby steps, folks. Baby steps. Also, I need something to put this on. That'll work. I got a feeling this is going to fall down a lot. 3 a.m. time for sleep. I have been tired. Oh, you want to know what really sucks? So this is the worst part of Rapid. So after listening to Pooch at all these events talk so much about how much he likes his Adidas 4D Forward shoes, I finally bought some. Okay, I bought a pair of the Adidas 4D Forward shoes. Those are the ones with the 3D printed whatchamacallits in it, soles. So I finally bought a pair, and they showed up on Friday after I came back from Rapid. You know, I paid for express shipping. And then to top it all off, they don't fit. I have to send them back and get a bigger size. My shoe size kind of sits between 9.5 and 10, depending on the brand. And this time it don't fit. So. But I do like them. Like they actually, other than the fact that here's the thing, my length is a 9.5, but the width is a little too tight, so I'm going a size. Usually I go size up. But yeah, that kind of sucks. So, it is what it is. Turn the V core and use its spool holder. That's what I'm gonna do. Get out of here, bamboo. Haha. There we go. Oh, this filament is twisted like a mofo. Oh, whatever. Make it work. But the whole thing was, you know, I do 3D printing stuff. I should have a pair of 3D printed shoes to wear at events. That's kind of why. So normally I just wear a 10, but I decided to roll the dice on my normal shoe size with them, and yeah. Like the shoes I'm wearing right now are 10s, and they fit fine. Felt like the 44 was gonna Take my feet off my legs. Too tight? Is that, yeah, I know it's way more dense. It's a benchy. If I'm off 2 or 3 grams, I'm okay with that. Mounted it clockwise. It's because it's metal. It's magnetic. You have to, if you have to mount it clockwise. What are we waiting on? Waiting on things to heat up. Okay. So, plus they were on sale for like half the price they normally are. So it's like, okay. Kept moving forward. Yeah, that's the whole point of them. the way the springs are kind of push you forward. Ooh. Hopefully it sticks to PLA or yeah, whatever. I ain't gonna. Nope. It is jammed up already. No, it is not working already. It does stick. I don't know if I need like an interface layer for this. One second here. It's extruding. Okay. Try again. It's really dense. It's like powder though, like it breaks into powder. Also, this is printing metal, which I've never done before. I also have some of the really fancy Fadis, like internal stuff. What is going on with you? It is way under extruding. It is way under extruding. Yeah, it's going now. Yeah, it's way under extruding. Okay, stop. Yeah, it's way under extruding. Turn up the temp. It's at 220. Doesn't say anything about temps on it. So virtual foundry 17.4 stainless. Let's look it up. Okay, so place the flow rate in slicer made 135. So it's just under. No, I was told to slice it with a 0.4 nozzle, but print with a 0.6. Okay, so let me bump the flow rate up and try again. Let me bump the flow rate up. Okay, let's try this again. So extrusion factor, let's go to 140%, because I normally under extrude a little bit. So we're gonna go 140% extrusion, and I'm gonna drop the speed down even slower. So here's the film. If you want to take a look at it, link in chat. Oh, we got a DM Adriana. $161 per 500. Yeah, this shit ain't cheap. This is gonna be the most expensive boat I ever make. I'm just going off of what the guy who gave me this stuff told me to do. So. What are we waiting on right now? Oh, waiting on that to heat up. I know, I'm going off of what I was told by the guy who does this for a living. So. Print Voron parts. Well, first we're going to try and print a boat. If we can do a boat, I'll look into printing Voron parts. The problem with Voron parts is Voron parts have, like, you know, heat sets and whatnot in it. So we're running 140% at 25%, or 140% over extrusion at 25% speed. Because it does the little bead at the beginning really nice. There we go. That looks okay. No, it doesn't. Why aren't you sucking in filament? I don't think it's sticking. No, it's kind of going. It's kind of going. I'm wondering if the retractions are too aggressive. Z-idlers are an X carriage. Actually, yeah, Z-idlers might. So for those watching in the future, just watch this part of the stream at like 3x speed. Crowley Quinter. Oh, so while it's doing that, let me load up a video of a Creality printer that I saw. So how do I word this? I don't want to sound critical, but taking a printer out of a box and just printing the demo prints does not a review make, especially with a high-speed Core XY. As somebody who's been dabbling in high-speed Core XYs for a while, we've shown on stream you can make a benchy you can make an ender dance fast. That's no thing. That's nothing special. But making a printer that is reliable in the long term print fast is another thing. So, in regards to that, this is Creality's K1 Max that they had at the trade show. The Bowden tube is not in this. I don't know why. It's zip tied to it. I don't know if it kept falling out or what. Okay, I think I have to turn retractions off. One second here. Yeah, I think I have to turn retractions off because it's not handling these retractions well. Because every time it does a retraction, it like doesn't extrude for a bit. I want to see if it'll do a retraction here. That might be okay. Yeah, we'll let it go for a bit. If it lives, it lives. If it dies, it dies. So anyways, the drag chain itself was dragging on the X rod. The X rods are 8mm rods. The Y rods are 6mm rods. So the rods that move are thicker, heavier rods than the rods that don't move. And then the belt path, you can see the spacing here. I know, like I posted a picture of it off Buddy's video, and no, it's all the machines. This and the other K1 had it. The belts are on an angle because they use 9mm idlers and 6mm belts. So what happens is they ride differently, and you're putting canted forces on the bearings, which these are pin bearings. They're needle bearings. Ask anyone who built a V0 or V2.0, or I think a 2.12, how good needle bearings last in the long run. Yeah. They had to grind the metal tab here to get it to clear the base so they could close it. That black in the grease, which it's a steel rod, they didn't use linear bearings. They used a bushing with grease. You don't use a bushing with grease unless you use like fancy graphite bushings or like properly spec bushings. Use linear rods on stainless steel rod, or linear bearings on stainless steel rods. They used a bushing that you have to grease. And the fact that the grease is already turning black on this machine, which I'm assuming prints PLA all day on trade show floors, means it's wearing. What else? Oh, this fan is mounted to the panel. Like it's actually mounted to the panel itself, and the panels are like millimeter thin, and they just have some holes through it, and this fan is just mounted to the panel. So if you're wondering why it rattles around on all the videos you see, it's literally just sitting on, it just screwed to the panel. What else? The bed is 24 volts. It takes a while to heat up, I saw. Everything is greased all hell. It probably prints fine. I apparently have one in the way. I'm waiting on it. But I don't hold high hopes of these things lasting. And you already saw Sam Prentice's one broke, and they're sending him a new one. The hot end broke on it. So I have doubts of the longevity of these machines. They look extremely cheaply built, in my opinion. And they have some issues down with belt pathing and component choices that I think will cause failures in the relative short term. So that's the concern I have. Also, not to mention the fact that you're running a Linux machine on your home network connected to the internet, that you don't know what it's running and you have no control over what it's running. I'm not saying they're doing anything nefarious, but the potential is there. It's like those little set-top boxes. Go watch the LTT video on the Android boxes. This is potentially a same thing, because all they got to do is just somebody change something so that when it pulls an update, whatever. I don't like unsecured, especially Clipper. They're also breaking the Clipper license. And I asked the dude there, and they don't know. Like, the fact that I asked the people at the trade show, hey, this is running Clipper. When are you going to release the license for it or the source code for it? And they all play dumb. So yeah. It seems to be going. I tighten this up. Normally on these LGXs, I only do like the first click. I put it on the second, it seems to be working better. So I don't hate Creality. Where did anything that I just said infer that I hate Creality? I'm bringing up points with their machine. I'm allowed to critique it. Hello, internet. Just because you can critique something doesn't mean you are, as the U's like to say, shitting on. I would love to have low cost budget printers, but like, look at the Cheetah. The Clipper on that is a complete disaster, and it can crash itself in multiple ways. It's got issues. All these machines are having issues because they all saw what Bamboo do. At least Bamboo took their time. I've got issues with the Bamboo, but the machine itself is perfectly functional. It's a decent machine. They took their time. But now all these companies that are known for putting out cheap bargain bin budget printers are racing to come out with a competitor. So you're taking companies that just do stuff cheaply, repeatedly the same way, and they're rushing to do something they haven't done before. Remember the Ender 7. Just remember the Ender 7. Bamboo may come with a larger printer. Good for them. If they do, they do. Like, I've got issues with the lockdown nature of the machine and the fact that, you know, it requires cloud service. But the machine itself is a damn solid machine. It's got issues and, you know, right to repair issues in my regard, you know, but I still recommend it. I was recommending the P1P to somebody on Twitter earlier today or yesterday. So the K1 Max has not been released. I know, but the one I was looking at the trade show looked like a mess. And that's the machine that probably has the most hours on it. The video that I was just showing where the drag chain's dragging on the X rod and they had to take a grinder for clearance on the door, that was a Max. It actually works, and yes, you can use memory cards. Yeah, don't get me wrong, you can use memory cards, but if you want to update the firmware, you have to connect to the network. So if you're, you know, and I don't know, I don't trust it, or I work in a place where I can't connect it to the network because my business doesn't allow unsecured computers on the network, because a lot of businesses have had issues with network security, and that's going to be a huge thing going forward, is network security. So if you had one of these, you could never update the firmware. They don't allow you to just download the firmware and update it with a USB stick. You can't. You have to connect it to the network, which in some situations you can't. And that's a huge thing. Believe me, I just went to a trade show. Network security is a massive thing with a lot of companies. Bamboo, seriously. And that's the thing, like, you need the cloud for all that. Like the fact that that machine right now, I don't have this connected to the network. This is on LAN only mode, okay? I can't use the webcam on it. The webcam, to use the webcam functionality on that printer, has to go through the cloud. None of these ones have to, but that one does. Why? And especially, like, I'm not saying, like, again, I'm not pointing out Creality, but the fact now that we're, all these machines running Clipper it's a computer. You are now running a computer on your home network. Now, you know, if you install Clipper yourself, the firmware is open source. Anyone could peek in it. If there's nefarious stuff in there, you could see it. But if you take it out of the box, you don't have root access. They've done who knows what to the Clipper install. Who knows what packages. It calls home to what server for updates. I don't know. I'm a YouTuber. My YouTube account gets hacked. There goes my livelihood. Should I trust that on my home network? Should you trust that on your home network? I'm setting up a completely separate network in my house right now for these machines. So. The carbon rods on the X1C. Yeah, you got to clean them. They actually have it now where it tells you like every 2 weeks or whatever to clean them. As long as you keep them clean, you should get decent life out of them. The issue is if they do go, you can't replace them. You can't. You have to, they're epoxied into the XY joints. So. So what I'm thinking of doing, I don't know how to do it. I have a separate router. I have a separate like D-Link router that I'm thinking setting up a completely separate network and just connect to it with those machines and a laptop that's like running Linux that I only connect to that network. And just like literally not air gap it, but like completely different network. It's working. Can't bridge worth a damn, but it's working. Because my Ubiquiti router can do VLANs, but I need to look into it again. For those new to the channel, you're learning this now, and for those that have been around for a while, I am a hardware guy. When it comes to software, you guys know how it is with me. So I'm like learning all this stuff as I go. That's why I like talking to people at these events about network security and like procedures and like talking to other people where it's like, hey, what happens if what's the worst that can happen if I'm running a Linux machine on my home network that I don't have control over? And people are like, oh, here's all these things. And I'm like, oh, that's a lot of bad things that can happen if a machine's on my network. And then of course, who's connecting a Linux machine or a Linux computer from overseas with no root access, preloaded with who knows what software with it, what potential security issues on their home network? And then, you got the 3D printing community. Oh boy, a new budget Clipper computer or printer. Like, that's kind of my worry. I've already had a few people from the community reach out. The X gantry will get modded. Oh, I'm sure somebody will come up with a mod where you can replace the rods and you'll have a printed XY joint. But, it'd be nice just to, not have that issue and they just went with steel rods. Like, would have been fine. I mean, these machines can do the speeds that machine does, and they're honking around a whole rail with a full fat extruder. I mean, look at this thing. Look at this thing. This thing has the same speeds and feeds as that thing, and that thing's a fucking tank. So, yeah. Okay, PFSense use D-Link, DGS, PO will do everything. I understood some of those words. Is it worth getting a 0.2 versus 0.1? I can get a V01. Most of the biggest difference between the V01 and the V02 are printed parts. If you have a V01 kit, just print the V02 parts, and pick up like a V02 upgrade kit from LDO. Depending on the sale. Functionally, like the biggest difference, honestly, is the tool head. And I believe most of it's parts compatible if you have extra screws. Ratrig ever get bitter with their shipping? I can't speak to that. They sent me this machine directly. I didn't purchase it, so I don't know how their shipping times are. I can't speak on that. Peak Voron parts when? Whenever I get drunk enough on stream one night to pull out Toasty Boy and try the Ultim again. Also, I need to buy an oven to dry it. So. Cracks the main board on. You can hack the. You can put Clipper on a Mark IV right out of the gate. The only thing is on those machines on Prusas, you got to break a little thing off that voids your electronics warranty when you do it, which you know that going into it, whatever. But yeah, you get the MCU on the controller board for the Prusa is Clipper compatible. Bamboo firmware? No, they are running their own thing. I've spoken to some people who have done a little peeking behind the curtain. It is its own thing. It's not the greatest, but it's their own thing. It's working. It's working. We're gonna have ourselves a little metal boat. I'm gonna have myself a little drinky drink. Probably no. It's okay. Motion systems, motion control software has been around for decades. Remember that, folks. The G code that 3D printers use is G code derived from CNC G code, which has been a thing for decades. Being able to program a machine to move in the X, Y, and Z, input shaping is nothing new. Input shaping has been around for years. It's just we finally have it on 3D printers. There are other different ways of adding input shaping to a machine. There's different ways of doing it. It's a mathematical formula. That's all it is. So, you know, programming a firmware from scratch, if you have, you know, daddy DJI bucks to do it, especially if you're using the same motion controllers and MCUs that DJI is using and you already have that code base that you can build upon. Why do you think they use H-bridges? Same thing DJI uses to control their drones. Or motors, at least. Apparently, that's what I've been told. So anyways, when you have a foundation for the hardware and you just got to port in some G code, yeah, you can make a firmware from scratch, especially if you throw enough money at it. Or a bunch of outsourced interns in Shenzhen. So. I just wish they would, you know, not lock their shit down as much as they do. Here, I'll share you a little chat. I had a chat. I'm not going to say what company. Not going to say what company. And this all happened in GTA and Minecraft. So in Minecraft, I was talking with a company that builds hot ends. And they had fully produced a hot end that would give even higher flow for the bamboo machines. Okay? In Minecraft. Okay? So they produced a hot end that was compatible with the bamboo machines, drop-in compatible, and would give you even more flow. And V6 nozzle compatibility, I believe. I don't know for sure. I never actually saw the thing. All they had to do for this to work was PID tune it. All you had to do is put this in and run a PID tune because it's a bigger heater. So you had to PID tune it. They contacted Bamboo and Bamboo said no. Bamboo won't even open up the ability for users to PID tune it. So, hypothetically in Grand Theft Auto. So yeah, that's the kind of company you're dealing with Bamboo. Where, you know, us all over here in open source land, where it's like, fuck, use whatever hot end you want, man. You want to run 3 different MCUs on your machine? Go for it. Who cares? YOLO, man. Share the love, whatever. Hi, can we PID tune our own hot? No, go away. Completely different mythology, way of doing things. Still a good machine. I still recommend it to people, but they do things I don't like personally. I'm not going to say which company it was. It was a company that has been on this channel before, but I think I've used most hot ends for most companies on this channel before, so that doesn't narrow it. But yeah, so for those that have a Bamboo, you could have bought a higher flow hot end than the one that ships with it if they would just allow you to run a PID tune, and the Bamboo won't let you. So that sucks. Meanwhile, you could put your Mosquito Prime Compensator 9000 on whatever these are, Goliath or whatever, you know, compensating extruding device you need on these machines, and just, you know, go for it. YOLO, open source, baby. Can't even run a PID tune. The first thing everyone learned, the first advanced thing everyone in 3D printing learns, how to run a PID tune. Can't even run it on that machine. Just installed Camp. I don't have Camp on any of my machines. We might play around with that on Tuesday. We'll put it on the rat rig. Not a Goliath LSD. I mean, like, if you want to play compensating, I have some 240 volt 1000 watt heaters somewhere in this room. If we want to play the compensating game. What do I like more? FDM? FDM. And be a cold day in hell before I call it FFF. Damn you, Stratasys, and your patents and trademarks. FDM. I have a resin machine. I do occasionally use it. It does do great work. More people get more out of FDM than resin. Resin is very niche on what it's good at. If you need super high detailed stuff, it's amazing, right? If you know, you're not getting this quality of a blurred camera focus. You're not getting this quality on FDM. I don't care what anyone says. FDM will never touch this quality. Okay? And this is on like a $300 resin machine. But resin's a complete mess to work with. So I did a video recently about resin printing. So if you want my thoughts on it, go watch that. It's if you are serious about 3D printing, you should at least have one resin printer, because there are things that resin just does amazingly well, but you only need one for most people. I mean, you see the unreleased drop effect next G Bamboo. How do you think it's going to fare without PID tune? I don't know. If you got to PID tune it and you can't PID tune it, then, well, you can't PID tune it. Need more borons. I know. Do you have a bigger heater for the high flow? I do. So here's how Revo high flow works. I'm not going to go in the exact numbers because I don't want to spoil the video I filmed on it. But you have two options with Revo high flow. You can get the high flow nozzle and throw it in and just boom, you go up and flow, okay? You just do, it's a higher flow nozzle. But for those that are wanting to print higher flow and some of the funkier, more advanced materials like nylon, because they need more heat dumped into the material, there is a 60 watt heater that you can purchase. The standard heater is 40 watt, by the way. So basically, you can go high flow with just swapping the nozzle, and you can go higher flow with a nozzle and a heater upgrade. So that has a 0.4 high flow in it. That has a 0.6 obsidian. That will probably keep the 0.6 obsidian, but I might put the 60 watt heater in there. This I'll probably swap with a 0.6 high flow occasionally. No, it's 40. I thought it was 32, but E3D said it was 40. Don't forget to prep that. I'm assuming Buddy at Sapphire will take care of all that stuff. Which spool holder are you using for the one you got the high flow out of? Are you talking about that one? Oh, that's just a switch wire. That's the switch wire spool holder I just have mounted up top. Not like you have to PID tune regular once you do it once. But the problem is, John, you can't even do it once on the Bamboo. Like the Bamboo has its PID baked into it for the one heater that it uses. And it can't change. You can't run a PID. So does the firmware even have the code in it to run a PID tune? They built it from the ground up. If they didn't plan on doing multiple hot ends, maybe it doesn't even have the ability to do a PID tune. And that's why they're declining it. Because it doesn't even have the ability to run a PID. It just has the value baked in, which a lot of heaters, if they're manufactured well, Revo's all PID roughly the same. So if you swap Revo heaters, you really don't need to do a new PID tune, unless you're going from different sizes now that they have them available, which you could do because, you know, open source printing. But that machine can't do a PID. Does it even have the code to run a PID tune? Or is it just relying on baked in values? Who knows? Perhaps, perhaps not. Maybe, I don't know. I can't look at the firmware. You can't PID tune it. Haunted on another printer. I have not, because all my machines run Revos and I like Revos, except for that one that runs an XG. But I know people who have put the Bamboo heaters. There is a mod for the stealth burner to put a Bamboo heater in, or hot end in, and it's actually really good hot end. It's cheap for a hardened hot end. It's actually really cheap. So FDM printer with the silicone. Are you talking about the Massivit? Gabs Lab, are you talking about the Massivit? Got a laser? I do not have a laser. I technically have a laser, but I won't use it. It's not enclosed. Pre-coolers and mixers. Well, if you're talking about the Massivit, it does like a the one I was talking about with Joel there. If you're wondering about the Massivit, that one, import, rapid. So if you're wondering about the Massivit, I did a whole video with the president of Massivit North America, Kevin, good dude. So I did a whole video about this printer and what it can do and whatnot. So yeah, so that'll be out one day. Is use these nozzles. I did a video with BOFA. I did ask what BOFA stands for, and she kind of stared at me and she's like, it does stand for something and not that. Bamboo terms that one agrees purchasing 0.3.4 is almost nothing allowed without authorization, even disassemble it. BOFA stands for breath of fresh air. LiDAR sometimes just silently fails and then sets sort of preset value instead of. I don't even bother with the LiDAR. I disable it. The LiDAR really really makes sense if you're using out of spec filament, which Polymaker, which you can win a spool of in the link in the description with this contest we do every stream, their shit ain't out of spec. So the LiDAR really doesn't do anything. Plus I run textured PI, so. What am I drinking? Just some whiskey. Is anyone working on getting Clipper on the Bamboo? No, mama. No, and it's pretty much impossible. There is no easy to access UART, the bootloader's locked down, and the controllers are Spintroll MCUs, which DJI also uses. So you have as much luck of hacking a DJI quadcopter to run Betaflight. So yeah, nobody's putting Clipper on a Bamboo unless they completely rip out all of the electronics and slap an SK on there, which technically you could. But what's the point at that point? So yeah. You'd have to gut every piece of electronic out of there and start from scratch. Because at that point, then you just have what? NEMA 17s and the motion system. From a 3D printing doctor, made after that uses liquid. Then no, I have not seen that one. It's actually printing pretty good. It's actually working pretty good. Hopefully I'm not destroying my gears. That's the only thing I'm kind of worried about. Have I used a Basel? I have not. I gotta find where I put them. I hope I didn't lose them. Sorry if I did, Diamondback guys. But when I build I haven't used any funky nozzles because I'm running Revos in the machines I build. And that's got a CHT. So yeah. What I will be though is when I get the Mark IV kit, I'm going to be building that with the adapter so I can use V6 nozzles, and I will be putting a Diamondback in there. So what's the next printer I'm planning to build? There's a few kits I'm waiting on to show up. Mark IV, XL. I ordered the kit version of both of those. Whenever those show up, those will be built. Rook, NXK3, and I think there was one more. I can't remember. I don't know. I can't remember what the other one was. VZ bot. Oh yes, a VZ bot kit is in the works. So. Diamondback nozzle. Yeah, the Diamondbacks are great nozzles. If you are super serious about printing nothing but abrasives all day, every day, not above 300C, the Diamondbacks are really good. Pricey, but they are really good. Alex, $5. Cheers. Sorry for looking for a minute at Rocky Mountain without saying hi. I was fanboying a little bit and you seem busy. That's okay. As long as I'm not like, okay, don't come up and say hi if I'm like sitting down eating lunch. Like that, yeah, or if I'm talking to people. But if I'm just walking around, say hi. At worst case, I'll go, hey, I'm busy, and I'll just keep walking. But I have a Nerf Blaster kit. I'm waiting on that too. I gotta print the parts for that. Cruciferous 4 on what do you like better and why? Depends on the use case. I'm looking forward to building the Mark IV. I like building printers, okay? There are people that like building Legos more than they like playing with Legos. I'm like that for 3D printers. I love building 3D printers, right? I love building things, okay? So I really liked building the Mark III kit. I'm looking forward to building the Mark IV kit. Once I get it built, it will probably take over from the Mark III as my generic printer that I use for like baseline testing, for comparison purposes. But yeah. K3 when? Whenever the Fabrico kit shows up. Does the CW2 handle abrasives? Yeah, it handles it fine, as long as the gears are good. PETG CF. I'm printing all mine in ABS. Cocoa Press. Yes, and the Cocoa Press will be built on the stream as well, whenever that shows up. So later this year. Is the Mark IV enclosure bundle worth 200? That's a personal thing. I personally believe the Mark IV enclosure is aimed more at educational and business use than home gamers. A lax enclosure does the same thing for a lot cheaper. So it is a very nice box. If you have kids or a cat and you don't want them getting into the printer, the fact that it has a lock is really nice. Depends on what you're using your printer for and what you need it to do. Why don't you plan for a 0G Mercury 1? Tech build 69. I just haven't. I don't have an ender that I could salvage parts from for it, and it's just not on my list. Also, I'm at the point where buying a printer, other than like a big ticket, like I am buying the XL and the Mark IV out of my own pocket, because you can't get those any other way. and they are a big ticket enough item that I'm hoping that the content I can get out of them kind of offsets the cost and hopefully justifies it. The XL is going to be a long stretch, but we've had a few random people throw money at me over the past year, so I got to buy it now. So when it comes to getting printers, I pretty much have to justify its cost in a build video and a stream, and a lot of these kit builds, the kit pretty much has to show up for me to be worth it. I haven't really looked into the 0G and what the cost is to actually build one from scratch. I know Steve's building one right now. So if you're interested in just a build video of it, go watch Steve. Oh yeah, the filament on the spool is super twisted. I totally didn't, it's totally kinked. I just didn't realize that. It showed up all twisted to shit. What's the latest? Somebody on the Voron team was going to pick it up, and that's the last I heard. But they're not on Discord a lot, so we'll find out. But I haven't paid them money until they pick it up. So worst case scenario, Printed Solid sent me some 3mm filament for no reason, which I really hope it's legit, because I really want to build that thing. What do I think of the Rookery? I have no idea what that is. Can the Rook be converted to V0? No. Build it from scratch. Okay, so we are getting a little bit of buildup. How abrasive is white filament? More abrasive than not white filament. It depends on the type of filament too, and the brand and what they're using as the additive. So it's kind of like it depends. Small SV07. A step back. Do they have pictures of it out yet, public, that I can share? Yeah. Hello, this is a Bichu Hurricane. They reached out to me a while ago asking if I wanted this, and the moment I saw that it was a V-wheel bed flanger with clipper on it, I declined it, because we were doing this 2 years ago, putting clipper on an Ender 3. I declined it because what's the point? It's, you get a big honking fan at the back, sure, for park cooling, whoop-de-doo, but I mean, like, meh. It does not excite me at all. The V-wheel bed flanger with clipper. So that's what I told them. I legit told them in the email, I'm like, hey, you had a good thing with the SV06. You actually had things that made it worth it over other printers. Why are you going back to the V-wheel motion platform and just putting clipper on it? And they're like, well, that's what we're gonna do. And I'm like, well, I'm not interested. Sorry. That's just a placeholder price. But it's literally, it's a Bichu Hurricane. Same thing, Bichu Hurricane. V-wheel with a clipper. XL multi-head will be interesting. Use different nozzle on the same print or use different material. That's why I'm getting, that's where it's gonna be good for. Something like a fine detailed nozzle on the outer walls, and then use a big fat like 1mm nozzle for infill. Stuff like that, or using, you know, PETG and TPU or other stuff like that. So Mosquito Prime was not placeholder price. No, it's $1,000 hot end. Listen, bring it in. You and me, we're not the audience for that thing. That is not for us. Building a Tri-Zero? No. Probably should have turned down the retraction speed, I think. Oh, Slice is firmly aiming at the prosumer or commercial industrial market. They're not aiming at the hobby market, really. Am I the audience? I don't know. Can you justify $1,000 hot end? Most of us can't. So. What about a Visa I bought? When the kit shows up, I will build it. Who's the market for Ultimaker? Businesses, education, commercial. People who need support after the fact once they get their printer. Like, remember, we may think we're the market. At home hobby level 3D printing isn't growing that fast, and it's not the biggest segment. Like, there is entire industries out there that dwarf, you know, little Timmy in his bedroom with an Ender 3. But try the CHC Red Lizard. I have not. We're not Teresa's market. We still are. We still are to an extent. It's just they're able to sell to more diverse markets as well. Is carrying X1C for education? Yeah, I've seen that. I'm kind of surprised. I guess it does have the certs. But the fact of the Wi-Fi and the cloud service being a requirement for you to fully utilize these machines, I don't know how some places don't care. Some places do, put it that way. Let's see, where is the bamboo on Matter Hackers sites? They're also selling the Hydra. Okay, so if you want the Edu bundle, built-in camera monitoring, all that. So yeah, so like, here's the thing. Some places don't care about the potential security issues and the network issues and whatnot. Some do. For those that do care, this machine will be a no-no. For those that it's not an issue, this machine is a amazing value. It depends. Not all printers are for all use cases. Also, I'll be interested in if Matter Hackers does the after-sales support. Because a lot of the time, if something goes wrong on a bamboo, you got to send it back. So, bench is starting to look rough. Yeah, the retractions, it's leaving some gubbins. We might be over extruding a little bit. Let me bump it down a bit. Because we do have some gubbins forming, it looks like. It's basically stringing, only it doesn't string because it's metal PLA. It's kind of like pooping. They're including 2 hours of one-on support to get it going. Yeah, but that's not, hey, my bearing is dead, can you replace it? Support. There's a reason a lot of stuff you print with this, you don't do retractions with, and you don't exceed the wall perimeter. Any EDU that has an IT department will be easy. Yeah, the mold company I work for had pretty, like, even our ID department was pretty anal about like the stuff that was allowed to connect to the network, because we had one customer bringing a laptop that was contaminated and connected to our network at work, and something got in because their laptop had something on it, and they connected to the network and it got in. Luckily, it was caught pretty quick, but after that point, they created a completely separate guest network with really shitty Wi-Fi speeds, which sucked for us because that's how we connected all our phones. So yeah, like it's just a potential ingress point. That's all it is. Because it's not always, you got to think about it. It's not what the company may do. It's what a bad actor who gets access to the system may do. That's the thing you got to worry about. That's the issue. Because, you know, it'd be really funny if one day, you know, a website popped up, whoprintedwhat.com, and it's every user for XYZ printer that had a cloud service, and it's all their usernames, and you could see a list of everything they ever printed, along with links to all the webcam feeds. That would be awesome. A billion of Tridex? Not at the moment. Printing naked. I don't know about you, but I've like run downstairs in the morning to take a print off the bed in my boxers, so. Don't give the NSA, oh, they already got it backdoor into anything. It's the NSA. What do you expect? Not just the webcam feeds, but the STLs. Exactly. Like, I can't believe how many of the 2A guys use bamboos. Like, connected to the internet bamboos. Like, I thought you guys are all, like, against that kind of stuff. You have to backdoor everything when you have all broken all the encryption. DFH always has some funky kits coming in. Print doesn't look hot. I mean, it is hot. Although I am going to pause it and clean that nozzle off. For those wondering what we're doing, we are printing actual metal filled PLA here for the first time. It is an oozy, gunky mess. So it kind of is what it is when it comes to the quality here. The Bamboo Handy app is pretty handy. I literally wouldn't know. I haven't used it since before the P1P came out, or when I had to activate the P1P. And I don't actually have it installed on my phone. I have it on this phone here that I have no personal information on, that I use as a burner phone. I don't actually have the Bamboo app on my main phone. So. We'll try back in. Right now we're printing at 220. I'll bump it down to 210. I mean, it is metal filled. How much shrinkage after sintering? I don't know for sure. After this, I will print a Nero cube, so we have like a baseline. V24 one day. I need to get the garage set up if I'm building a V24, because my brother in Christ, we ain't got room for that. Where would the V24 live? Now, granted, I could fit inside a V24. Also, I would need a kit, and Jason would need to hook me up with said kit. Which bed level? Personally, I'm a fan of tap. I've been using, ever since, I really liked it on the Mark IV when I had it for the week there, and I really like it on tap. I am a huge fan of nozzle probing. because that gives you true zero. Beacon, while it's really good and it gives you a really fast mesh of the entire bed, it has the same kind of downsides an inductive probe has. You're not reading the true bed surface, you're reading the metal under the bed surface. There is an offset, and you still have to worry about, you know, calibrating a Z offset. So PRX kit. PRX would be fun to build. Yeah, I would love to build a P-Rex. Because it's just so insane. That's for those that are members of the channel or Patreon supporters. The video for tomorrow is now live, actually, so you can watch that. Have I tried Boop yet? I have not. I forgot to pin that. Enter to win some Polymaker filament. Do this now. Can be adapted to the hot end heavies. So the load cell that Prusa uses is also part of the hot end. The hot end heatsink mounts to the frame with a, like, it'll be, there's pictures of it online, but basically it's part of the hot end assembly. Like, it's part of the metal frame of the hot end. So, like, it's built into the heatsink. So it, where did my mouse go? There's my mouse. There's a giveaway. There's a giveaway every stream. We got 50 minutes before the end of stream, so. Yay, Oilers are. How are the Leafs doing? They won the first series. I'm assuming they're down like 3-0 in the second series. I haven't checked because I don't actually watch hockey. Mr. Minden, $20. Welcome home. Cheers. Polymaker equivalent to KVP Boron Red. No, because KVP Boron Red is actually its own thing. Down 2-0. Yeah, sounds about right. This year's the year. That's a good guess. Hey, they at least made it past the first round. In the first time in World of Warcraft history. It's been that long. Still sell out every game though. Best tap kit? LDO. Don't get the Chaotic Lab ones. It's I've got the Chaotic Lab one here. They didn't reach out to the team at all. They designed it on their own. And we're really stingy about releasing the CAD. I guess they finally are. But it's it wobbles like shit. We did testing on tap for a long time to determine, hey, MGN7 rails are a no-go. And guess what they used? MGN7 rails, because they didn't ask us. And it wobbles like mad. So, yeah. It's been fixed? Well, hopefully it has. Delactin, $25. Cheers. Just finished up my V02 build. Couldn't have done it without your videos. Awesome. Good, it helped. Say it's fine now, but I'm Delpho. They also had issues with the belts. It's just, here's the thing with anytime there's a metal component with a Voron. Okay, here's the one problem. Hey guys, we've updated the design. Now what? It's either outdated or you're stuck with it. These machines right here are both running standard tap. Actually, that one and that one. That one's still running clicky because I was going to put the Chaotic Lab kit on it, but it's all borked. They're running just a standard plastic tap, and I've never had a single issue with it. So with the LDO PCBs. Trying out the Physik. Wish me luck. Good luck. Hopefully the rail's good. The rail and the actual sensor are the biggest parts. How's the rat rig? I don't know. I haven't printed with it since last Tuesday. Or like since the last stream on it, because I was at Rapid and really busy. So we're gonna be playing with it on Tuesday. We'll actually do some real printing on it for once. I'll feed it some ABS for the first time. I'm waiting for this print to be done so I can actually change out the filament. Is there a good place to get hardened extruder gears for the Clockwork 2? Does Bondtech sell them? If not, I don't know. When am I going to finish the V02? Next Tuesday? No, next Saturday. I don't know. What do we got to finish on this? It's mechanically done. We need to do input shaper, pressure advance tuning, and figure out an enclosure. Other than that, it's done. I just figured today's stream I wasn't going to work on it because back from Rapid, figured we'd chat about that. Which, by the way, I know we had Joel on at the beginning of the stream and we talked about it for a bit. But if you guys have any questions about Rapid you want me to go over, ask me now, I guess. Rollerball combined with a load cell will work. The problem is using off-the-shelf stuff that is globally available, that anyone can just buy, that is repeatable. That's kind of the issue. About their Thermwood, I did not. There were actually a few companies at Rapid that just had big printers, like normal FDM, like Big Rep and whatnot. I didn't talk to any of them. What was my favorite thing there? A mixture of Velo and Massivit. Also, the free alcohol. Because it was fun. But here, let's go through the photos. Let's go through the photos. I don't think anything here is under an NDA. Okay, that is under an NDA. I can't share that. Yeah, don't share that. Okay, so when I get to the Creality machines. Okay, so picture with Joel. Tell me to stop with picture with Joel. Okay. Okay, so there's my plane. Little puddle jumper. 1 hour flight. Just up in the air. A cab ride to Chicago. Actually, let me just make sure I got nothing that I can link here. I think we're okay. A lot of this is going to be the B-roll. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of this is going to be the B-roll. Okay. But I think we're okay. Worst comes to worst, we just end the stream. Okay. Very first time I ever got a media pass. So I actually had a media credentials for this. All that meant was I got to hang out in a booth that they had that had free pop and drinks and snacks. So that was nice, I guess. So there was like a big talk when I walked in. I got some footage of it. I didn't listen to any of the talks. Oh, look, it's a Revo high flow box. That's their demo. This thing actually works. You can actually unscrew it and the spring works and everything. This is the internal geometry of a Revo high flow. You can tell I hadn't eaten anything yet today because I was shaking like mad. Oop, that's a business card. This is what Joel's stream looks like from behind. There's David as producer and there's Joel talking. Count how many, if you can go back and watch Joel's stream, count how many times you see me in the background. This is the ramjet that there will be a video coming out that'll probably be around 15 to 20 minutes that is literally just nerding out about ramjet and rocket shit. Like no point at all. Like it's just nerding out with ramjet stuff. in rocket science. He spotted me once. Well, that's because I popped on the stage with him. Oh, there's the guy. Yep, Joe. This is one of the big reps. It's so slow. So slow. There's a video about this. I did talk with Jason, so there will be a video about the positron. A surprising amount of stuff that is just X mounted on a KUKA arm. There is a surprising amount of tech at these events that is literally just, we strapped a MIG welder to a KUKA arm. We strapped a pellet mold to a KUKA arm, or pellet hot end to a KUKA arm. We strapped a resin thing to a KUKA arm. Like, there's a whole industry out there of just strapping stuff to KUKA arms. Wire EDM, this was cool. So it actually cuts off slices of this metal with wire EDM, which is always cool to see. I got to drive this robot. They let me drive this. This thing costs more than the remainder of my mortgage on my house, and they let me drive it. You can't crash it into people though, so that's good. It's got like AI, so you can't crash it into people. This is that company. I think this is the same company that did like the world's largest 3D printed boat. This is the Massivit, which I recorded all this B-roll and it looks like shit. And then I realized, wait a minute, the other window is clean. There's that information on that ramjet, if you're wondering. This is all peak. I don't want to know how much this cost. That is all peak. There's the Captain America shield. That's made out of inconel. That costs more than my car. And by the way, so the cool thing with the shield is it's a shield, so it's got a little dome. It was printed without supports. That's the cool thing with the shield, is it was printed without supports. That's what makes it special, is the fact that it was printed without supports. Oh, look, it's a Prusa Mark IV running input shaper. I think this is a 6K XL. So it does exist. This was really cool. I didn't talk to these folks. I really wish I had. This is a company called SPOOL. They actually gave me a hat. What they do is this thing is accelerating metal particles to Mach 2 to Mach 3. And when it hits something, metal, it basically blows off all the oxidization and it fuses. So you could see it actually building up material. Like, you could see it building up material. Oh, there's Joel, so I gotta hide that. Go past the NDA stuff. After party day one, Joel, Joe, Pooch, Claire, David, me. This is the view. Apparently this is like the largest convention center in the US. This is like the hall outside of the room. It's like 460,000 square feet inside of it. It's huge. Pantheon. A lot of this you're seeing is B-roll. So there's the Pantheon doing its thing. This was actually the one Joel built. So he signed it. So a bunch of this is B-roll. I'm gonna skip the B-roll because watch the video when it comes out. Underneath the Pantheon. Element. So this is Mosaic. I wanted to do a video with them, but every time I tried to, like, they didn't have anyone that wanted to be on camera. So I'm like, okay. Clipper screw. Yeah, Pantheon's running Clipper on their machines. And they're running just Clipper, you know, normal everyday Clipper, not like some butchered, hacked version of it because reasons. They're just running normal Clipper. think this was SLS. I can't remember for sure. Lousy PR. Well, nobody pays me, so yeah. This was also the Mosaic. Oh, this is BOFA. It's a filtration system, if you're wondering what BOFA was. This is more B-roll. Yeah. Oh no, shaky cam. Who is disturbing my camera? Oh, it's Joel. He's sabotaging my YouTube career, not letting me get good B-roll. This is a something table. I can't remember what it's called. Somebody in chat, let me know what the heck this is called. It's like a Jeffries table or a Jetson table, or I can't remember what it's called. But it was cool to watch. This is that chainmail. So this is 3D printed inconel. A bunch of other stuff they 3D printed. And more B-roll of that, more B-roll of that. This was all 3D printed too. And it actually does like work. This is a turbo pump, I believe. These are the print volumes of these machines that Velo has. So this is like their biggest print volume. This is inside the Massivit. They let me go inside and record some video. This is where the material is. So this is the feeding system for that machine. This is the electronics for that machine. So if you're wondering what it, this ain't an octopus with a Raspberry Pi, if you're wondering what powers these kind of machines. This is where the epoxy is. It's 2-part epoxy. This is that bathtub, totally out of focus. So this is that thing I was talking about. So the company here makes bathtubs. So it would normally take them 12 weeks to make the mold for a bathtub, and now they can do it in 5 days. Like, it's insane how much time that saves, and time is money. This was really cool. Okay, get your minds out of the gutters. This is on the Massivit, but instead of epoxy, sawdust and a binder. And then they stained it. So this is wood, essentially. And then this is marble and a binder on the same machine. That was really cool. This was some panning shots of the... There was a cafeteria raised in the middle. So if you have like the whole place with a big rectangle, in the middle they had a raised cafeteria. So this is up there. So this is only looking down like one of the 4 sides. So like there's a whole area that goes this way and behind. So hey, there's Fadus. Bruce is over there. Stratasys is up front with their massive booth along with GE. Oh, there's me. There's the Creality K1 that didn't look too hot. Or K1. Oh, there's that. This was the printer Joel really liked because of how big it is and how cheap it is. That's actually Joel right there. We were both talking with him. This is the BOFA system. That's more B-roll for the videos. Banana. This is all 3D printed, by the way. This is all 3D printed. And it actually feels like a banana because it's polyjet. So they can mix the different materials before they color it to have different shore hardness levels. So like this is actually squishy and soft like a banana, and this is hard like a banana stem. So this is all 3D printed. And also, what I didn't know, so there's currently a video going around where somebody like did some 3D printed animation, I think. Where is it? They did like an animated video. I can't remember what it was, using 3D printers. I'm trying to find the video on Twitter right now. Where is that video? What is that video? I think It's Boy did it. Boy. Oh, Ben. No, that's not it. Here we go. Okay, 1 second here. Okay. So this is currently like going around. I'm not gonna, because it's copyright music. Where they printed a stop motion anime thing, but it's all 3D printed. And you're like, oh, that's cool. They did a whole video with like 3D prints, right? So this is all 3D printed layer by layer, and you take a picture, right? It looks really cool. Don't get me wrong, it's super awesome. So if you want to see another video that was printed in 3D printing, it's called Kubo and the Two Strings. Pretty much every character prop in this entire movie, I can't show any of it because I'm live streaming, but all of this stuff that you see in Kubo and the Two Strings, like all these characters, yeah, they were printed on Stratasys machines using this technology. Yeah, so that was cool. This was really cool. I can't remember what booth this was. Dinsmore, I guess. Check the filament on the bench. Oh, it's getting tangled. Visit Mamaki. They didn't have anything. Mamaki just had like a few, nothing major. Like they just had a few demos. They didn't have any machines, but I did see their booth. The banana felt like a banana. This is that 3D printed basketball that you probably saw a million pictures from the event or from Rapid. This was like the cool thing. So there's like 5 of these in the world. This was the one used on the dunk competition thing. I did bounce it. It does feel like a normal basketball. It's just 3D printed, so that was cool. Now this was Aeon 3D, I think it was, printing Peak. So for those that want to print Peak, this is what you really want. This was more stuff done on that SPOOL 3D, that machine that basically is a sandblaster on steroids. All these were printed on that machine. So apparently a big use case for this machine is military, for like on-site field repairs, because like a lot of stuff, you just need to machine a few things. So like this connection here, right? So you print this whole thing. All you got to do is machine this one hole. These are just clearance for bolts, and you're good to go. So you can print this in a couple hours versus machining it from scratch in the field. You can't. So there's the giant Polymaker spool. That's the Massivit machine, 10,000G for full size. Everything on here was either made on the Massivit or made using stuff derived from the Massivit, so like forms and whatnot. Rim mold. So this is how they make like the foam driver's seat. So you can see the texture on it, because it doesn't matter about the layer lines, because it's getting covered in a fabric. View from the end of the hallway in my hotel, and then the plane home. Which, hilarious. I was supposed to fly home at like 6. So my hotel checkout was noon. I got it bumped to 1. If I wanted to stay longer, I would have had to pay. So I was like, screw it, whatever. I'll just check out of my hotel at like 12:30. you know, grab all my stuff, and I'll just go to the airport and hang out for a couple hours and then fly home, right? Because the shitty thing was I had my luggage. So it would have been nice to go do like some touristy stuff, go take a picture in front of the Bean or something in Chicago, but I had my luggage with me at that point. So I was just like, screw it, I'll just go to the airport and fly home. I don't care. Well, I get to the airport so early, when I get to the gate, they're still boarding for the flight before me, because Detroit to Chicago, they just run business flights back and forth all day. So I made a joke to the receptionist at the desk there for Delta, and I'm like, hey, you know you're early when the flight before you is still boarding, right? And she's like, hey, do you want to get on this one? We have room. And I'm like, yes, please. I don't want to sit here for 5 hours. So I got home like 5 hours early. It was great. They have full machine stops on naval vessels. Yep. You have to. You need to. So yeah, so that was Rapid. There'll be some videos from there, obviously, over the next couple weeks. Some of them might be merged together, where you get like 2 or 3 videos. Like tomorrow's video from Rocky Mountain is the P-Rex and the 5-axis V0. But some videos, I think the video where it's just rocket science nerding out will just be by itself, because it's literally just rocket science nerding out. The flight prior to mine. Me fail English, that's impossible. Well, I didn't even ask. I just made the joke, like, because I rolled up as they're all like boarding, like the last person had just boarded, and she looked at me, and I'm like, I'm putting my suitcase down, because I'm like, or my bag, because I normally what I do is I take stuff out of my bag once I get past security, and I put it in my carry-on or my my luggage, because it's some stuff's easier to like to put through security manually, like the tripod and whatnot. So after I get through security, I take the monopod, I break it all down, and I put it in my luggage, right? So I get there and I start doing that. And I just made the joke, you know, small talk. Hey, you know, you're early when the flight before you is taken off already. And she's just like, well, if you're going to Detroit, you can go on it. I'm like, okay. Stainless steel is not a metal. It's a non-magnetic metal, but it is a metal. But yeah, this filament is non-magnetic. Like, oh. Okay, this filament is magnetic. Okay then. I guess it is magnetic. Normal stainless steel is not very magnetic. Put it that way. These are also very strong magnets. It's an alloy of metals, most metals. The Sears Tower. Yeah, isn't it like the Willis Tower now or something like that? It's like in Detroit, we have the Cobo Center where the events are, like Detroit Auto Show and Rapid last year. And now it's called like Huntington Place. But nobody calls it Huntington Place. They call it the Cobo Center because that's where it was. It's like the Renaissance Center. Now it's like the GM Tower, but it's the Renaissance Center. The RenCen. It's 17.4 stainless steel, if anyone wants to be a nerd and look that up. So I will say dropping the temps 10 degrees helped a lot. It's still stringing, but not as much as it was before. Still call it Kobo. Yeah, that's how you know generational thing. Where I download that Starship model? I don't know. This was just a random printables one. It's not a very detailed Starship model. Like, it's only got like 3 engines. It's a very generic model. I think I found it on printables. I printed this on the V400, I think. I am sleepy. That's what I am. Have you tried Orca Slicer Fork? I have. I played around with it. I can't remember what machine we were using it on. I'm hoping there's a profile for the V-Core, because that's what we're going to be doing on Tuesday. We're going to be printing with the V-Core. So. Seen a lot of bad metallurgical takes here. The iron and stainless steel doesn't cause it to rust. The chromium stops it from rusting. Science. Does Orca Slicer? I believe it does. Actually, you're right. I was doing it on the V-Core. I had to make a profile for it. But I think now they have proper profiles, so. He added a bunch of profiles. The Orca Slicer guy added a bunch of profiles, so I think we have proper profiles now. So. Get to the printer, Shinji. No, Dad. I want to be an angsty teenager and not pilot the giant robot. Although I will say, as like somebody whose like first anime was Evangelion, watching part 4 of the rebuilds and Shinji not being a bitch, that was nice to see. Yeah, I have a feeling Orca may supersede Super Slicer as kind of the funky one for like the pinkies up slicer for the cool folks. Take care, Rose. Moves that aren't canon. They are canon, okay? They are canon, okay? The cycle is cyclical, and Shinji finally broke the cycle with the rebuild series. The whole point with Mari showing up and breaking the music thing, his tape deck thing, because after she shows up, because she's the new character, she breaks his little thing and the music changes to finally another track, a new track. There's a whole thing there. That's some no. Battlestar Galactica ended shittily. Battlestar Galactica was great until they wrote themselves into a corner because they had no plan. And that thing ended horribly. Like literally the first couple seasons of Battlestar were amazing. And then the last season just kind of like, we have no idea how we're going to end this. Everyone's human and monkeys, and they gave up everything to like go back to scratch. Like, no. It's like they have a plan. Yeah, everyone has a plan except for the head writers. No plan like Lost. I never got into Lost. But yeah, those shows where I can't stand shows where it's constantly carrot on a stick. It's mystery box. I can't stand shows where the whole premise is the mystery box. It's like, ooh, what's this? Oh, once we figure it out, ooh, what's this? I can't stand shows like that. Haven't been, ending was so bad I haven't been able to. I did go back and watch it like a year ago. I watched the whole thing in a couple days because I basically skipped the filler. And yeah, it's like as soon as you get to that last season, you're like, oh great, here we go. SG1 was great. SG1 was amazing. As long as SG1 ends at season 7, and then as long as you view the season 8, 9, 10 as kind of a fan fiction, I think it's okay at that point. Because let's be honest, SG1 ends at season 7. Not saying there was bad and, there was good in season 8, 9, 10. But like, let's be honest, SG1 ended at season 7. Discovery sucked because they only had the 1 season, or was it 2 seasons? They ended on a cliffhanger. I just love, Stargate SG1, where like every alien planet is Vancouver. We're in Vancouver, where the aliens are. Yeah, that was probably, I can't remember when it was. It was after the show ended. It might have been like, when did SG1 end? When did SG1 end? SG1 Stargate. 10 seasons, so it was 2000. When did it end? 2007. Okay, so March of 2007. So summer of 2008, I was still in college. So I was in college, and at the time I was doing like army stuff and then part-time at a grocery store. I binged all 10 seasons of SG1 in 2 weeks. Like legit, I downloaded a totally illegal backup of my DVD archive of SG1, and I binged all 10 seasons, every episode in one go in like 2 weeks. Like I would just wake up, watch SG1 until I went to bed. Like that's what I did back then. Occasionally I had to go to work. Although, you know what I need to watch again? I need to watch Farscape. I did the same thing with Farscape, and I think it's about time for a Farscape rewatch. What about the Halo TV series? What Halo TV series? I don't know what you're talking about. All I know is I am super jaded from Game of Thrones. I have no desire to invest myself in a series now until it's over. Because after Game of Thrones was the last TV series that I actually took the time to watch every episode as it came out. And it burned me. Those last 2 seasons were like, I was hate watching by the end. So after that, I am so hesitant to get involved in a TV show that's still actively airing. So. Farscape lost me at season 2. Scorpius was awesome. Head Scorpius was awesome. Firefly. Joss Whedon, here's the thing with Firefly. Once you realize how Joss Whedon does things, everything's the same with him. Firefly, I really like the setting. I really like the characters. I don't know how it would have gone on the long term. Because now, as somebody looking back at how Joss Whedon does stuff, or did stuff, he doesn't do movies anymore, they're so samey. The quippy, I can't stand the quippy. Everything's a quip. Ajax, chat is moving pretty fast. I still saw you though. Andor, I gotta watch Andor. I've heard good things about Andor. I still haven't sat down to watch Andor. Travis, enjoying the live stream system. That's awesome. Serenity was good. I like Serenity. Serenity was good. Firefly was Buffy in space. Exactly. Oh God, the Obi-Wan story. You know what? Here's the thing. I'm sure somebody out there at some point will take the Obi-Wan series and do what somebody, I can't remember what it's called. Somebody took the Hobbit series, like the movies Hobbit, and they re-edited it into like a 3-hour standalone single movie instead of 3 separate movies. And it's so much better. I think somebody will do that with the Obi-Wan series at some point. Because, oh my God, the filler. There's like, oh my God. There were good parts in Obi-Wan. Don't get me wrong. There were good parts in Obi-Wan. It's just there was a lot of filler that did not need to be there. I'm tired of everything Star Wars, American Pie. I am burnt out. I have not watched any Marvel films since Multiverse of Madness. I'll probably go see Guardians, just because I do love the second Guardians movie. So I probably will watch Guardians at some point. But I haven't seen any Marvel movies since Multiverse of Madness, including the shows. I haven't seen third season. I haven't seen any Star Wars since the second season of Mandalorian. Because Boba Fett series and the Obi-Wan series just kind of like bleh. Boba Fett series was horrible. Like, nothing against the guy who was Boba Fett, the actor. It's just the writing was just so bleh. Like, technically the shows were fine, but the writing was just bleh. Like, it's sad when the two best episodes of the Book of Boba Fett were the Mandalorian episodes. Boba was useless. It was. That was a useless series. It did not need to exist. Boba was better than Obi-Wan. I would say Obi-Wan had better higher points. Like, as somebody who watched the prequels in theaters, you know, as a teen, like early teen, like when I was a wee lad, my dad booked out a week where we watched the Star Wars, and he rented the VHSs, and we watched the original trilogy before the special editions with VHSs rented from Blockbuster, and we watched the Star Wars on a long weekend, one a night. And then when the special editions came out, my dad took me to the theaters to watch those in the theaters. And then when the prequels came out, he took us to the theaters on opening night to see the 3 prequel movies. So I grew up with that. So yes, seeing Anakin as Vader again was like, So yeah. So yeah, there were parts in Obi-Wan that just kind of like, because I grew up in that age, where it was like, yeah. Almost done. This is the slowest benchy ever. Nobody's ready for Jar Jar. You have to understand, Star Wars is literally Buck Rogers in space. You know, Buck Rogers was in space. It's Buck Rogers with a little Akira Kurosawa. It's not meant to be taken seriously. That's the whole point. But you can do not serious good. You can do a setting that doesn't make sense when you really think about it good. Like, put it this way, the prequel or the sequels, I will watch the prequel movies any day over the sequels. I have seen, what is it? I can't even remember their names. The Force Awakens, I saw it in theaters once, and I saw it after it came out once. I downloaded it once and watched it. The second one, what is the fucking second one? I can't even remember what they're called. Yeah, somehow Palpatine returned. Yeah, you don't play Fortnite? So the second prequel movie, I can't remember the name. I watched it in movie theaters once, and that was it. And then The Rise of Skywalker, I watched on like Netflix or whatever in half an hour. I literally just skipped through the movie And I'm like, oh, The Last Jedi for the second. Yeah. So Last Jedi I watched the movie theaters once, and I was like, okay, whatever. And then the last one, The Rise of Skywalker, I literally just watched it on Netflix in like half an hour, 45 minutes. I just skipped through the whole movie. And I'm like, yeah, I would rather watch a prequel movie. Of course, I'd rather watch the originals, but gotta milk the friend. Well, the problem was the three sequel movies had no plan. Like, they legit had no plan. They literally like JJ directed the first one with no setup for the second. The guy who directed the second literally said, screw it, I'm doing my own thing, and dumped everything. And then they brought JJ in to try and wrap it up without any, like, it was horrible. Like, it was completely disjointed. Like, it was just like, what the heck am I watching here? There was like characters that, like, what's his name? He was the stormtrooper guy in the first. Imagine if he had led a stormtrooper rebellion. Like he actually had character development as a former stormtrooper. If he went back and led a stormtrooper rebellion, like, you know, actually had character development instead of just being a glorified extra in the third movie. Like, yeah, Finn had so much that could have been done with his character, but instead he was just like, oh, cool, I'm the guy now who does things. Like completely like killed the possibility. Like, think about it, a former stormtrooper, a former brainwashed stormtrooper. You have so much you could have done with that, and you didn't do anything. And then Rey Palpatine, Skywalker. Hyped up Snoke as a Sith Lord and then just killed him off. Yep. Here's the thing. I'm fine with Rey being... Here's the thing. Rey should have been a nobody. But I'm fine with Rey as the character originally introduced, where it's just like, you need somebody to be the Luke Skywalker. Somebody who rises from nothing, from absolute nothing, to be the hero. I'm okay with that. But then it's Rey Palpatine. Oh, okay. Rogue One. Rogue One was the best thing to come out of all the sequels. Finn should have been... No, Finn should have been the secondary character. I was fine with Rey. I'm fine with Rey. The whole thing with Star Wars is somebody rising from nothing to be the most critical. Anakin came from being a slave to being Anakin. Luke came from being a dirt farmer to being Luke. You need somebody rising from nothing. Being a stormtrooper is not nothing. It's being a stormtrooper. So Rey, I was fine with Rey being rise from nothing to be something. But she should have stayed a nothing. She should have been a nobody who became her own thing instead of, great, another frickin' person tied into the original characters. So. But yeah, Rogue One is still the best. Admit it, when you were in the theaters and Vader shows up at the last minute. She did need a character arc. Like, here's the thing. They set her up okay. I was fine with her setup in the original. I was okay with the campy, you know, her suddenly figuring out force powers in 2 minutes thing. I was okay with that. But then they kind of just bleh in the second and third movie. All power, no... Exactly. Like, they could have handled the second and third movie. I was okay with the first movie being basically a rehash. I'm okay with that. The second and third movies were just so bleh. Han Solo getting killed. Well, here's the thing. You have to understand, Harrison Ford doesn't want to do shit with Star Wars. So he wanted out as soon as he got in. That was Rapid. Very good. We talked about it earlier in the stream. Have fun, Sun Turtle Camper. I think this is like the second or third time we've gone down the Star Wars like tangent on this stream. I know he tried to kill off an empire and then he got a big bag of money to come back. Benchy's looking pretty rough. It is, but this is what happens when you're 80% stainless steel. Trekkie. I haven't watched anything Star Trek since the last movie. Okay. In Star Trek Beyond, which I do love, I love how they opened it up with the episodic joke. That was good. I have nothing against the new Treks. The new Treks, they have their flaws, but I think they're decent movies. What I need to figure out is in the new Star Trek series, like the new Trek, Beastie Boys is canon. It's canon in this new Trek universe. They play a Beastie Boys song in the Star Trek Beyond movie. In a Beastie Boys song, they reference Spock. How does that work? How do they reference Spock in a Beastie Boys song in a canon Star Trek universe? And it's Star Trek, so yeah, you could probably, like, as people are saying in chat, Spock just happened to go back in time and influence a Beastie Boys song. From the time they went back to save the whales. Hello, computer. Still on? Yeah, we're still on. It's 11. We're gonna wait for the print to finish. We got a little 20 minutes left. Star Wars is Star Trek is everything's washed up because okay. What was it? I can't remember exactly what I was watching, but basically the fact that movies have to make their money in movie theaters now because streaming exists and nobody buys DVDs. Nobody does anything that's not a safe bet. So nobody's willing to risk something on a new IP because it's not worth it. Why? So that's why everything's a big tentpole movie nowadays, because everything has to make money. You can't put out a silly rom-com. That's why you don't see rom-coms anymore. You don't put out a movie that it can make some money in the theater and then we'll make the rest on DVD because there's no DVD. So now you have to fully rely on DVD on movie sales. So that's why you see, everything has to be a tentpole, big budget movie because nobody's willing to risk money on little return. Mario story was super safe bet. So the fact that they had modern music in the Mario movie is the thing I hate the most about it. The fact that there is like Take On Me does not need to be in a Mario movie. And it is, yes, the Mario movie is the dumbest, safest bet plot ever in a movie. I still loved it because it's a Mario movie. What is the plot of a Mario game? Bowser took Princess, you go get Princess back. The fact they managed to stretch that into an hour and a half is a miracle. And it was still somewhat coherent. Jack Black. Jack Black was awesome. Jack Black is awesome in anything he does. Even Biodome. Even Jack Black was my favorite actor in Waterworld. But yeah. Oh, I fully expected the Mario movie to be the safest bet in the world. Like, it's Nintendo we're talking about here. But yeah, the fact that they had modern music in the Mario movie annoyed the hell out of me. Like, it took me out of it. I wanted, like, you have Mario music and like Donkey Kong music and like Mario Kart music. Like, why the hell am I hearing Take On Me in a Mario movie? Or Welcome to the Jungle, or not, I can't remember what the other one was. But yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, for those that don't know, Jack Black, I'm pretty sure his first big acting thing was in Waterworld. He played the smoker pilot, I believe. I think he was the pilot of one of the planes. Biodome. Biodome was a bad. Any Pauly Shore movie is bad. I know season 3 was awesome, but I haven't watched the last 2. I gotta watch season. I gotta watch Andor and I gotta watch Mandalorian. So he was in the Mandalorian. I seen that on Twitter, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with celebrity cameos. I'm okay with that. In the Army Now was great. Byru, you think it was great because you saw it in the 90s. If you go back and watch it now, it's not a great movie. Believe me. Mario should have had chiptune. No, it should not have had chiptune. Like, honestly, I was fine with all the actors. Like, even Chris Pratt. I was fine with Chris Pratt as Mario. Stripes. I made a Billy. I don't know about you, but any movie that makes a Billy is doing okay, so. Andor, maybe appreciate Andor and Rogue One even more. Nope. Colton. Everyone, Colton is a rouge. As anyone who played World of Warcraft, Colton is a level 60 rouge. I can't believe how many people mix up rouge and rogue. On a more serious note, Bill C11, some ordinary gamer and they will move their LLC company to the US. Will C11, oh my God. Okay, hi, I'm a Canadian. The flannel gives it away. So C11, Galaxy Quest is the best Star Trek movie ever. So for those unaware of what C11 is, in Canada, we have something called CanCon. It was something the government came out with, I believe it was in the 60s. It was basically to try and, prevent Canadian culture from being dominated from the US. So any radio or broadcast TV station in Canada has to have X% of its content be Canadian. That's been the rule for a while. So you need to have X percentages Canada. So basically once you get up near Toronto, radio kind of sucks because it's like 30% has to be Canadian. You hear a lot of like bare naked ladies. You hear a lot of bare naked ladies. And Justin Bieber kind of counts. So either way, that's CanCon. X% has to be Canadian content. Well, the government in their infinite wisdom, and because Bell, Rogers, and TELUS, which are the monopoly when it comes to media in Canada, have been pissy because now, the internet's a thing and streaming services and YouTube and whatnot have been completely eroding their monopoly that they own in Canada because they own a monopoly in Canada and we can't do anything about it. So there's no point in fighting it. Have been complaining to the government that, woe is me, these new medias, they don't have to follow CanCon rules. So now Bill C11 has kind of passed, and technically all media in Canada is kind of, I'm not fully versed on it. Go watch Some Ordinary Gamer. He's a fellow Canadian. He did a good video on it. But TLDR, what it has to do is right now YouTube is the black box algorithm. It recommends content to you that it thinks you want. Okay? The internet is a global playground. Doesn't matter where you live. The internet is global. Well, now in Canada, it has to take Canadian content into consideration eventually, once it goes fully thing. So the problem is, as a Canadian content creator, you would think, oh my God, hey, you're going to be promoted more to Canadians because you make content in Canada. So Canadian viewers will get fed your content more. And on napkin math, you think that's great. Fuck no. Because here's the problem with the YouTube algorithm. If my video gets fed to somebody who doesn't like my shit, they either click on the video and quit out of it quickly, or they don't even click on it. So that means the algorithm goes, oh, jolly gee willikers, this person doesn't like the content, ergo this person's making bad content. We're not going to promote it anymore. I'd rather have my video fed to those that would normally like my content than be forced upon those that do not normally like my content. That's the problem. And now that C11 exists, the government can go to YouTube and all these companies that are online media creation and go, hey, force feed Canadian content X% to your viewers in Canada. So basically what it could do is it could do the same thing, like basically if somebody had a botnet that constantly downvoted my videos. It basically feeds my content to those that normally would not watch it, but it's forced to feed them my content, and they don't watch it, so my videos go down in metrics. Now here's the thing. What if I apply to be a Canadian content creator? I'm a sole proprietor. I'm the director, I'm the writer, I'm the host, I'm the editor. I'm fully Canadian. My congregation in Christ, the amount of fucking paperwork it takes to get registered as a CanCon creator. Yeah, there's a reason the big three monopoly are really the only ones that do this kind of thing. So yeah. As it is right now, Canada is not high up on my metrics. As a Canadian creator, it hurts my heart that, you know, out of all the content I do, in terms of my audience, Canada ranks 4th and makes up 4.5% of my audience. So in my position, I'm actually not that bad off, because at worst it hurts 4.5% of my audience, and it over promotes me to 4.5% of my potential audience. America makes up 41%. If you're curious of the numbers, here they are. The Germans are at 5.6. The Brit, or actually, sorry, over here. The Germans are at 9.1%. UK is 5.4. Canada is 4.6. So I'm really not in a bad position, because of the type of content I do is actually a very global content. So even if I were to completely lose my Canadian audience, which would suck, it doesn't hurt me too bad. So much for being a shill for Prusa. Czechia is at 1.4%. Good old Serbia at 2%, 0.2. But yeah, so CanCon sucks. I'm not a huge fan of our current government, but I don't like the alternatives too much. So it kind of is what it is. But it is what it is. So yeah, Ordinary Gamer has a much bigger channel. His structure and the way his channel operates is a different beast compared to my lowly little corner of the internet. So yeah, I don't think I'm in too bad a position. If it affects me, it affects me, but it is what it is. Brazil? Brazil's 1.3%. I have more Brazilians watching me than Japanese. UAE. United Kingdom, United States. No, UAE is not on here. You're not in the top 50. There's a Brazilian. I have a Brazilian viewers. Ohio. Shit. Ohio. Gozaya. No. I can't speak Japanese. Baka Shinji. There we go. That's my Japanese. Omaewa Shodizuru? I can't remember. I can barely speak English, so. Ohio gozaimasu. Baka Shinji. Gozaimasu. Omaewazu Shindiru. Nani? Do I like South Park? I do enjoy the odd South Park. I haven't watched any of the most recent stuff, but I do like the show. Am I the same Nero that designs those superheroes? I am not. I cannot CAD myself out of a cardboard box. Put it this way, YouTube was like ran promotions against C11. C11's stupid. Like anytime a country tries to like force their own like especially on the internet, because here's the thing, on the internet you play at the global game. YouTube is a global platform. Okay? So when I put my content on YouTube, I'm playing at the global game. Okay? I don't like the fact that Canada is like, we're special, you need to have certain percent of. No, the internet's global. Stifu with the monopoly companies. Okay, there's a reason everyone hates Bell, Rogers, and Telus in Canada, because it doesn't matter what. Okay, you go to a Canadian mall, you have 3 stores. You got a Bell store, a Rogers store, and a Telus store. You also have a Virgin Media store, a Kudo store, and a Fido store. Guess what? Those are the same. Those 3 companies are owned by the previous 3 companies. Okay, you pay for your phone up front, but you pay more on the bill. It is what it is. Or correction, you pay more for the phone up front, but you pay less on the bill. Guess what? It works out to the same amount on the price. And then also you have about 5 or 6 other stores in a mall that all sell the same as the previous 3. You go into one store and they have the option for all the stores. So in any given mall in Canada, you have about 10 to 20 stores that sell cell phones. Guess what? The prices are all the fucking same, because that's how it is. You might save $5 a month. The prices are all the same, because Canadian media is a monopoly, because they all hide behind the fact that the government supports CanCon and basically prevents outside companies from Canada to becoming players in our market. It's shit. That's why it costs like $70 a month for a basic cell phone plan in Canada. Because they all basically, let's all make our prices the same so we all win. Oh, it's anti-competitive as hell. It's horrible. It's horrible. Like Lux Cata with glasses. Yep. Yep. So in Canada, there's 3 companies that control all the media. Yeah. And that's why it's funny when you see a lot of like, at least in Canada, which really sucks because Canadian politics are really starting to mirror American, and it sucks. So you have a lot of on the right supporting group that don't like the CBC, because CBC is government funded. CBC Canada receives government funding. all media in Canada receives funds from government. It's just various amounts. Just CBC receives the most because they're completely government funded. They're the Canadian equivalent of BBC basically. But anyways, they all shit on BBC because they're publicly funded compared to the other media, which is fully funded by corporations because they own the media in Canada. So they all pick on CBC because CBC is the only one they can't control. But it's what it is. You know, they all receive money from the government in various amounts because it can't go on it, whatever. So yeah. It is what it is. If it becomes a problem, the joy is I'm a YouTuber. I can work from anywhere. Oh, we got your only Banshees hat. Nice. Same with PBS and NPR. Yeah, they when you think about it, it's like, oh, government sponsored. Okay, so you'd rather support corporation sponsored news? Like, think about it. The only media that can't be controlled by corporations are the ones the corporations spit on. But anyways, this is not that kind of stream. We do 3D printing stuff. Raker gifted 5 community memberships. Cheers. Yeah, Elon. Oh my God, Elon's. Stick with the rockets, man. Stick with the rockets. Everyone thought you were cool. You had your rockets. You had your electric car. You were in Iron Man 2. Everyone loved you. But then you actually went on the internet and started posting. You don't shit post on Maine, my dude. You don't. You don't shit post on Maine. Electroplating. I have not played with that. Elon was cringe. I'm okay. He's a cringy dude. He's a cringy dude. I'm okay with that. But the fact that he now thinks he has power, like, just shut up. Stick with the rockets. Be a weird dork, and stick with the cool shit, rockets and cars. Although I built tools for Tesla, I would never buy a Tesla. Elon Musk is cringe. Oh. Why Twitter? I don't know. Because I think there's a lot of people on Twitter that love him, and he feeds off that. Helping with free speech. By owning the company? No. Free speech doesn't work that way. Trying to buy people. Yeah, the amount of check marks I've blocked and muted on Twitter over the last like couple months is ridiculous. Am I gonna print the Hedamame V2s? I've been using the Hedamame V1s as my daily drivers, and my left ear is starting to die on me. I gotta look into that now that you mention it. So try to not own it, but they soon. Well, the problem is it's if you say you're gonna buy something and then you don't buy it, at a certain point you gotta buy it. Centralized social. Yeah, see how Mastodon's going. The problem is internet is not cheap. And if you want to have a large social media network, somebody's got to pay for it. That's the problem. The internet is not cheap. So a free, open, discourse that allows video sharing, picture sharing, that ain't cheap. Well, I ripped off. I should have cooled that down a bit. Ooh. This is the heaviest benchy I've ever printed. Okay, that is stuck to the bed. Aha. Okay. Cool. Here is a benchy. 2 walls, 3 bottom, 4 top. Out of focus. A little chunk did come out of the bottom. 15% gyroid infill. How much does it weigh? How much does it weigh? Two walls, 3 bottom, 4 top walls, 15% infill. How much does it weigh? Closest without going over. Some people are dancing around it. Some people are dancing around it. I'm going to ignore the, I'm going to the full gram, No, no. Oof. So people are like, you guys are dancing around it. It's an odd number. Some people are really close, like off by 1. Ooh, another off by 1. Oh, Mike Tayo, 41 grams. 41.283 or 280. 41 grams. That's even. No, it's odd. We're ignoring the, we're going to the full gram. Yeah, 41 grams. Probably should have let the bed cool before pulling it off, but oh well. Like, I will say, it's got some issues. But like, focus on the boat. You know, for a stainless steel benchy, that ain't bad. It is heavy. That is heavy. Remember, it estimated 9 grams. It's 4 times as dense. It's over 4 times as dense as PLA. What's a normal benchy? $10 grams. It's 4 times heavier than a normal benchy. Is it magnetic? I believe it is. Mom joke. Speaking of mom joke, let's give away a spool of filament. If you did not enter, you'll get another chance on Tuesday. Because it is getting late and I am getting tired. Stainless steel. Stainless steel is less magnetic. There are some stainless steels that are magnetic. Also, I don't know what additives are in here because let's be honest, it's probably a little bit of everything. It's 17.4 stainless if you want to do the math. Okay, give me a number between 1 and 41. I need a number between 1 and 41. 40, fuck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 38, 39, 40. Round and round she goes. Where she stops, I can't watch that. I had too many to drink. Oh my god. Computer algorithm knows you'll get an email from me after the stream ends with your information on how to collect your filament. Congratulations, Jerklemole. 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 Congratulations. You won yourself a spool of filament from Polymaker. Let me get your information here. One of one. What I like to see. Congratulations, everyone. Golf claps in chat. Golf claps in chat. Some lead impregnant filament used for custom rad shielding. Would you print it? I'd give it a shot. I picked up some, not carbon, graphene. I got some graphene filament that I got at Rapid. So, okay, we're gonna call a stream there because it is late and I am tired and the little guy has swimming lessons in the morning. So yeah, I can't get over how heavy this is. And so I gotta figure out what to do with the rest of this after I untangle it. So I have like 50 grams left, so I can print like half a benchy. And it actually broke. This filament's super weird. It's like not as solid as you think it would be. Okay, print to Prusa rocket. I do not have enough filament for that. I've got enough to do this one more time. Okay, I'm gonna call the stream there. I am exhausted, I am tired. For those that donate to the channel, gifted memberships to others, or became members of the channels yourself, I thank you. I would not be able to do the things I do, create the content I create without your continued support. You make it all possible. Shout out to Joel, Mr. 3D printing nerd himself, for joining us for the first little bit of the stream today. That was awesome. Hopefully we can get him on the stream in the future. And shout out to LDO for sending me some of the upgrades on this machine. We will be finishing this in the future. We've got the LED panels on the side we got to put on, and I think that's about it. Join the Discord if you haven't. Consider become a Patreon or channel member. I think that's, am I forgetting anything? I think that's about it. I haven't had a stream in a week. I'm all off. I'm thrown off. LDO giveaway. LDO giveaway next stream. Next stream. Wash my hands. Yeah, wash your hands and take your bread out of your fridge. Good night. See you on Tuesday for some Rat Rig stuff.